Lead building.
Okay, thought we had a catastrophic microphone fail there. We're good to go. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I think y'all can hear me all right now. I had something. OBS is just doing weird things. I don't know what's going on. First I had a camera not working, then I had no microphone detected at all. I think we're good though. Guys, what is up? Happy Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening maybe, Wednesday morning even perhaps if you're out on the western side of where I am. It might be 11 a.m. I think local, so still morning over there, but it is a pleasure to have you all on board today. I am jacked for today's stream. So it's kind of overcast and cool and foggy here in Dallas. I figured what a better day to start talking about winter operations in the Airbus aircraft. I've done this, I do it every year. We start as we get into the winter season, and this is a twofold stream. So it is entertaining for you because you get to see some more winter ops and kind of the procedures that apply to it, but it also is good for me as it gets me kind of back into that mindset. Okay, winter's coming around. What are we going to have to take care of here? What about icing conditions? Let's talk about probe heat. Let's talk about the differences between anti-ice, differences between anti-ice and de-ice, some of the ground hazards we have to take into account. And looking at the Portland weather, it looks like we might have a low visibility approach into there. And Tyson, I believe, mentioned it. We might as well do a Cat 3 Autoland today as well, because why not? We haven't done a Cat 3. We haven't done an Autoland in quite some time. So we'll see how it's working here with the Fenix, the latest and greatest update. Now I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, why aren't you flying Delta? It's Salt Lake to Portland, it's a Delta route. This livery from KJO on Flight Sim TO, he's got it's like a 3-pack of American liveries, 107, 109, and I think 128 or something. Just absolutely fantastic. It's way better than even the default Fenix livery, which is hard to believe, but it is really good. It's got the cabin inside, it's got some stickers on the flight deck, so I'm going to rock this American livery. Plus, American pilots are just nicer than Delta pilots, let's be real. So that's what we got going on today. Good to see everybody here. Brad K's in chat, Stephen Hayner, Jeff L. Caro, Al Fariz, Fubar's also in the house, Mr. Henry, Andre Henry. What's up, man? Good to see you. Would love to join you, but a terrible time to move my Microsoft install folder. Oh, dude, that's a tough one. Hope it gets sorted here shortly, man. Jamie Wilson, good to see you. Gina Hoffen in the house. And Holger Teutsch, I saw your super chat up there earlier. Holger Teutsch, 31 months, man. Always a pleasure to see you on board the channel, my friend. Hope all is well over there on your side of the world, my friend. It's a nice mild day for you. It's a mild day here for us in the States as well, at least where I am locally. But always a pleasure to have you on, Holger Teutsch. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Welcome aboard. Many more in the house. And how about that countdown music, huh? That countdown music, little throwback to the Jeremy Harvey Concorde theme. Absolutely fire. Brad K says Delta pilots land the 737 carrier style. Hey, I wouldn't say it's just Delta pilots. It's mostly just Navy pilots in general. Fly Navy, where you at, man? So, yeah, Navy pilots, they don't know how to flare pretty much. But that's no fault to their own because that's how they're trained and that's how you got to do it when you're landing on a boat. So, anyway, chilly and lost wages today. Chris Super, good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the stream, dude. Hope you stay warm out there. You Las Vegasites? I don't know what you call Vegasites. Anyway, I don't know how you guys probably don't handle the cold all that well, huh? You like that heat. J-Dub, what's up, man? Thanks for the info on the AA livery pack. J-Dub, for sure, man. Check it out. It's from KJO. And let me show you right now. You can kind of see. So, I mean, the cockpit obviously is absolutely fantastic. He's got like 2 EIS-1 renditions, which is 107 and 109. But it's kind of hard to tell in this lighting. But once we get airborne and we get up above the clouds, you'll see what I'm talking about. The paint that he used, it's like the exact metallic-ish looking. It's not that flat gray that you kind of see in some American liveries throughout the sim. This is because the real American livery has this kind of like metallic-y sheen to it almost, and he's absolutely nailed the color. So yeah, check it out on the Flight Sim TO. He's got 3 of them in there. Fantastic. So David Reed, what's up, man? Go Navy. Yes, sir. Go Navy, man. Fog finally cleared here east of Dallas. Skyworker, yeah, it's clearing up. I can see the sun starting to peek up through here in the office, but I'm just going to pretend it's nice and foggy for us. Right now, we're Salt Lake City. It is cold. It is rainy. It is snowy. We have GSX, which it does indeed do de-icing simulation. I'm going to walk you through that today. Real procedures and what you need to start taking into account when you start flying your Phoenixes around or your Tolas around, whatever it may be, as you start flying into winter weather. Because if you don't account for winter weather, bad things will happen to you, and it is modeled. So, all right, here we go. Callie Simmer, just before we get started, Callie Simmer has already dropped a massive sub membership to all you folks out there. 10 more gifted subs coming in. Is my alert box muted? Oh, there it is. Callie Simmer, can't thank you enough, man, for your constant support. Guys, if you're picking up some gifted subs from Callie Simmer, I don't know how many he's gifted at this time, but basically the whole chat is green. I love to see it. Thank you, Callie Simmer, for your continued support, my friend. Flying with Mike has also put an awesome $10 dono super chat. Thank you so much, Flying with Mike, man. Appreciate you. Don't see a message with that super chat, but I can't thank you enough. Thank you for your support. I hope you enjoy the stream, man. Thank you for continuing to support the channel, support me, and enjoy content. So here we go. Kawatamundi salutes in chat for the 2 donos to start the stream off. Let's go ahead and fire this airplane up, shall we? So I'm going to come up to the overhead, and we're going to go right with our normal flow. So cold and dark airplane. We get to the airplane. It's cold. It's dark. Typically, we don't have to worry about any cold weather ops until we start seeing temperatures below 0. It's not below, or excuse me, below like minus 15 C, something like that. Then you might have to start thinking about cold weather ops, battery charging stuff. That is like severe cold. I'm going to do a handful of these streams. We'll probably do some up in Canada, because it gets super cold up there. Maybe we'll do an old Halifax stream when it gets really cold, and we'll do some hardcore cold soak procedures, I should say. So, but right now this is just a moderate winter day here. It's a little bit of a mix between rain and snow. You can see it out the window falling on the ground. It looks like nothing is sticking, which is pretty cool. I don't know if it even simulates snow accumulation. I don't think it does, but this is still pretty realistic. You see these snowflakes falling down, and then it just kind of melts when it hits the ground. And of course, here we go. We get text messages. We'll probably get a spam call here. All that good stuff as the stream goes live. The Aviator, what's up, man? Salt Lake City from Microsoft Win. We need one. Oh, I know, man. The default Salt Lake is not good at all. Jeremy says, thanks for visiting my home airport. It's really windy today. Jeremy, of course, my friend, of course. Glad to have you on board, man. We need a blizzard stream this year. Oh, yeah. If we get a blizzard and I'm off, we'll do a blizzard stream for sure. All right, it looks like the airplane's powering up nicely. Let's continue with the overhead flow. And before we do that, let's get the dome light on. Boom. And there's flying with Mike's alert, so it came in delayed, but appreciate you flying with Mike. All right, here we go. Cruise supply oxygen, come on. Ground control on. CVR test. Remember, parking brake must be set. It is, and that's working. Captain to captain switch. Let's get these aligned. Status up here, up to 1, TTO -8. Strobe auto, nav position 1. Seatbelts off, no smoking auto. Arm the emergency exit lights. Landing elevation is in the auto position. 2 fault lights here. Packs are unpowered. That's totally normal. The Gen 1, Gen 2 fault lights, that is normal as well. External power is on, powering the aircraft. We could theoretically do a battery test since we're right here for maybe it's the first flight for this aircraft. So let's do a battery test. It is, winter. Sometimes cold weather is not very good on batteries. We got 27 volts and 0 amps being drawn. So to do a proper battery test, we're going to come up here and we're going to go battery 1 off, battery 2 off, and then we're going to go battery 1 back on, battery 2 back on, and we should see. Ooh, it looks like we need to do some charging. So we need to have less than 60 amps decreasing within 10 seconds. Not happening. So you can see here that is a failed battery test. This happens quite frequently in the Fenix. I don't know why it's so frequent. That's pretty, I don't want to say rare, but I would say it's much less frequent in the real airplane. But that's not a big deal. What we'll do is we'll just let that charge. We'll keep it on ground power. So how you charge the batteries is you just keep the batteries on with the external power plugged in. So we'll charge it up, and if we remember, we'll test it again before push. Everything else looks good on the overhead. Let's do engine 1 fire. The Fenix always needs charging, Holgertoich. Interesting. So yeah, I kind of feel like every time I've done the test, it's needed to be charged. So maybe that is just a Fenix thing. But it's kind of cool to see it there nonetheless. Gives us something else to do, right? Okay, we'll get the heat in the aft position. Everything looks good. PA is out and on for the 3rd switch. So our overhead is complete. Somebody asked a great question the other day. Why don't we do the cargo test smoke? And honestly, my answer is I don't know. It's not in our procedures. It's not in our flow. It's not in our originating flow. It's not in our originating procedures. My airline, we don't do the cargo smoke test. Don't ask me why. I assume it's done on overnight checks, things like that. But yeah, I mean, you could do it. There's nothing wrong with doing it. But somebody asked that in chat one of the days, and I was like, it's a good question. And then I actually asked my FO when we were out on the line. I'm like, what's going on with the cargo smoke? How come we never test it? But anyway, before we get carried away, let's go ahead and start boarding. So what I've done is I've already instantly loaded the aircraft, and we are going to use GSX today. So I'm going to get GSX to start boarding us, get our crew to come into the airplane and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and request boarding. They are on their way, and while they're on their way, let's start plugging away at the box here. Let's go ATSU. Let's initialize our flight plan. Flight Force 77. What's up, my friend? 9 months of support. Thank you so much, Ben. Hope you're well. Thank you for the continued support. He says, what's up, man? How them Jets? Oh, dude, the Jets freaking... We suck, dude. We suck again. We're 5-3. We're about to be 5-4 after a loss to Buffalo this coming weekend. But it is what it is, man. I thought we might be able to steal one from New England, but the refs threw that game initially in the first half, and then the Jets just suck. So it's a combination of a bad call with that pick 6 called back, and then after that, I mean, who knows if we would have won even after they let that stand, but nah, the Jets are trash. Zach Wilson is trash. We can't score offensive touchdowns without Breece Hall, so I have my hope for the future of the Jets is in the toilet now. Maybe a miracle will happen with Buffalo this week, but I doubt it. Crimson Ghost, can I ask you A320 Fenix question? Never mind, I don't want to take away from the stream. I ask you the Fenix. There's a Crimson Ghost. If you got to shoot, man, maybe I can help you out. Maybe not. It is what it is. If I can help you out, I'll help you out. But fire away if you got it, man. All right, let's pull our flight plan from here. Harold Phoenix, what is up, man? Good to see you. Hope you are well. Thank you for the continued support of 6 months, my friend. Enjoyed the stream. Glad to have you on board. Thank you so much, man. All right, today we're operating as American 357, and we're cost indexed at 75 with a cruise flight level of 380. So we're going all the way up there, 380. That is set, minus 52. I don't know what the actual temp is. We'll leave it there. Ground temp is +7. That's cool. Flight plan, a NIT, Salt Lake departure. Before we do that, let's go ahead and pull the weather. Now, this is something that I failed to realize. I think I was watching a Captain Canada stream, and I had no idea. Well, now, how do I get there? How do I get to, like, the main... my flight? So I had no idea the weather was, like, up here. You can toggle. You can toggle. Pretty cool. Right now, departure weather, 140 at 4, 1 mile. Vertical visibility is 4, 6, light snow, mist, broken. Okay, so this has a bunch of information that we need to decode and what it means for winter weather ops. But before we get into winter weather, let's get the airplane configured, and then I'll take some time to brief it. But right now, looking at this, with winds out of 140 at 4, we'll probably blast off northbound. So let's go to our Navigraph page, and let's look at our 10-9. I want to do a short taxi. Is it 3-4 left? I believe that's the one that's going to be closest to us right now. Oh, excuse me, 3-4 right. We'll push for 3-4 right on departure, and we're basically taking a vector departure on the Seagull 1. Seagull 1, and that's going out to TWIF. No idea what Tango Whiskey Fox is. It's been a while since I've been on this part of the country. All right, so then we join our en route section to Jotba, and we set up for PDX. I don't know what they're currently landing in Portland. Let's go ahead and plan on the ILS 28 right or left. Let's do 28 left. No, what are they landing in Portland? Let's do 10 right. Let's do 10 right for now on the hood 4. We can always... Oh, they're landing 2-8s, of course, right after I put that digital mark says 2-8s. We'll do this for now. 10 right, hood 4, and... but should be... nope. There's an arrival METAR in the FB2? Let me check that. Aha. Love it. 220 at 10. So yeah, we'd be landing 2-8s. Rip. So let's go temporary race. Portland arrival. We'll land 2-8 left. Let's do 2-8 left on the hood 4. And the transition, I don't see it in there. Jotba. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was Jotba. Boom. Set. Insert that. There's our flight plan. Secondary, a NIT. This is something we would have to consider. So if we have some type of failure that's going to require us to come back around, we need to start looking at the arrival information in Salt Lake again, because if there's not an approach that can get us low enough back into Salt Lake, we need what's called a takeoff alternate. In today's particular case, we could still get back in, but a takeoff alternate as a precaution would also be welcomed from the flight crew, but it's not necessarily required. So keep that in mind. If you're departing from maybe a smaller regional airport and there is no ILS or no precision approach to get you back in, and you're taking off in the Airbus, think about what type of airport is close by that has a ILS approach, so you can have that in there to come back around if you have an emergency. Because if you take off, you want to be able to come back and land somewhere, and it may not be able to land where you took off from. So takeoff alternates, that is the first thing that enters my mind when we start dealing with low vis. Like, okay, low vis, takeoff alternates, more fuel is going to be required, all that good stuff. So keep that in mind. We'll put radio 200 there. We're going to zero out the wind. I don't want any help with the wind. Temperature was 7 degrees, and the QNH will hit the magic B key. I looked at it earlier, 29 or 9 or 7. 29 or 9 or 7 is set. That's our secondary. For departure, we're not going to hard tune anything on this one. Our progress page, we'll put Salt Lake City in here. I'm just going to put the airport reference instead of a runway. Next phase, we go right into our perf and NIT. So, since we are pretty much loaded, or we already have our weight information. We're not loaded, but we have our weight information. We need to come back over here. And we need to go to... what was I doing? Oh yeah, weight and balance. Let's see, 0 fuel weight, 124.1 and 29.0. Wait, what? 124.1 and 29.0. Okay, 124.1 and 29.0 is set. Look at our block fuel today is 14.5 on board, and it is balanced. So we'll put 14.5 right here. And then we'll come up to the overhead and go fuel tank pumps on and seatbelts on. Done. All right, it is mountainous terrain. We'll get terrain mode up on my side. Pilot monitoring will have weather up on his side. So we'll split the duties, but since there's no weather radar, we're just going to have terrain on. Let's see. Okay, then when I manage descent at 260 knots, the airplane stays at the bottom of the magenta speed bracket, 240. Crimson Ghost, that's a Fenix thing. I don't know why it does that. I've done numerous shorts videos of the airplane in descent mode, and I don't think any of them have showed it at the bottom of the descent window. I don't know why that's happening so prevalent. I mean, it's not a big deal as long as in the real world, as long as it's in the magenta econ descent window, that's all we care about. But yes, it does seem to be in the bottom of the window more frequently than normal. So I think that might have to do something with maybe their calculations or something like that. But either way, it is what it is for us right now. Actually, it helps you out because if you get high, you can speed up, right? And you can actually get back down on profile if you end up high. So it's a more conservative air. It would be more of a pain if it was consistently at the top end of the speed scale, because then we would be consistently behind the curve when it came to our descent profile. I got out of Denver in 2015 and a blizzard closed the airport all day about 15 minutes after we took off. Wow, only time I've been on a plane that was de-iced. Really, Tyson? All right, yeah, so de-icing, we'll talk about that here. Looks like somebody just started up next to us, of course. There's that little Alaska ops out there, Mr. Moneybags. But how cool does this look, actually? In low weather ops, GSX it's growing on me in low weather or in winter weather because we get to de-ice with it and stuff. Have they improved brake temps? Yes, I think they've improved them a little bit. I don't know if they're still continuing to tweak them. But so GSX will allow us to de-ice today, which is cool. So let's go ahead and discuss de-icing and anti-icing. Okay, so there are a couple different things, and I want to, can I mute him? If I mute, I'd end up having to mute, I wanted to mute that airplane out there. We'll just go back in here. We'll watch it from right here. We'll watch these guys load bags. I mean, that's actually pretty cool. Let's get a better window view. How about right here? I mean, that's pretty cool. Smash the like button for that. That's about as real as it gets. So, de-icing and anti-icing. So you don't want to mix the two up, okay? They are two completely different things. De-icing is defined as removal or removing ice accumulation already on the aircraft surfaces. Anti-icing is the preventative measure to prevent ice from accumulating and or sticking to or adhering to the surfaces of the aircraft. So remember, they are separate. They are not interchangeable. De-ice and anti-ice are separate. So you want to make sure we get the terms correctly, starting there. Now let's talk about some of the systems, the basic systems on the airplane that we're familiar with. Most commonly, we know on the overhead, we've got the engine anti-ice. We've got the engine anti-ice buttons, and we also have the wing anti-ice buttons. Those are both forms of anti-icing, and they can de-ice as well. So the icing, anti and de-icing systems that we have on the Airbus can do both because it's a heated element, right? So wing heat and engine heat will prevent ice from accumulating, and it will also remove ice from accumulating. Same goes for the probe heat. So our pitot tubes are heated, our cockpit windows are heated, smart probes are heated, the AOA vanes are heated. There are some additional drain mass on the aircraft that are heated. In fact, you can see one right over here. This is the aft drain mass. I believe that one is heated as well. They're all pretty much heated so ice doesn't accumulate on the drain and then end up plugging the drains up on the airplane. So imagine if everybody's washing their hands in the lav and up at 38,000 feet, any water that wanted to drain out would just freeze. Then you wouldn't be able to drain the sink because guess what? It's plugged with ice out of the airplane, so you can't continue to wash hands. It would back up at the sink. So yes, the drain mass are also heated on the airplane. Now, if we look up over the overhead here, you can see that we have 4 switches in relation to heating and de-icing on the aircraft. On the anti-ice panel, we have wing anti-ice, we have engine, One, engine 2, which we just talked about, heated elements, and then the probe window heat, which I just mentioned, is here. Now, the difference between the probe window heat push button and the rest of the push buttons for anti-ice on the Airbus is that the probe window heat is actually automatic. And you can see it's automatic. If you forget, it actually says auto right here. So if it's automatic, then why does it even have a push button that would allow me to turn it on? Let's dig a little bit deeper into the window heat and its logic. So probe and window heat, when the engines are started or when the first engine is started, the windows and the probes will automatically be heated. Now, once the airplane is airborne, the heating elements will then go into their, I believe it says high mode or in-flight mode. I can't remember the exact terminology, but it actually becomes even hotter once the aircraft is airborne. But after first engines start on the ground, your windows will automatically heat and your probes will automatically be heated. So if it's automatically heated at engine start, why do we need to be able to turn it on manually? Well, if you ever show up at the airplane in a snowstorm, guess what? You cannot see out front of your windows because your windows are probably iced up. You've probably got ice along here. The worst is when it rains first and then you got all this hard ice and then snow on top of it. So what we need to do then is when we get to the cockpit, part of our preliminary flow at that point would then be to turn on the probe and window heat manually. And that way it starts heating up the cockpit windows and we'll start heating up the air data probes outside so that, number one, when we take off, well, it wouldn't matter because it would turn on after engine start, but basically so that the windows would be heated and we could melt the snow and ice and see what's going on out front of the aircraft before the engines are started. So the only time that push button should be on is on the ground when you're actively melting stuff on the windows. All right. New Neos had anti-ice on the vertical stab, I thought. Blue Mac, I am not sure about that. It may be an option as far as I am concerned, or as far as I am aware of, I should say. I have not, I've flown some brand new Neos. I have not seen a heating element on the vertical stab, but I'm not saying that it's true for all Airbus. It could be a company option. It could be a, airline specific thing. But for me personally, I have not experienced Neo aircraft with heated vertical stabs. You bring up a great topic of discussion though, and that is when we turn on the wing anti-ice, what is actually heated? So in the Airbus specifically that we're looking at right now, the outboard 3 slats are the only parts of the wing that are heated. And you'll be able to see that here when we extend that. We'll talk more about the wing anti-ice in, let's talk about it after takeoff. It'll give us something to talk about in cruise. We'll dig more into the systems in cruise, but on the ground, just wanted to talk about the probe and window heat because that's the one we're going to be using. I've got it simulated on right now, so we'll just simulate that we're using heat. And with that said, it looks like boarding is about done, so let's go ahead and start the APU. We're a little bit delayed here. Typically, it would take a lot longer for this airplane to be loaded up in this weather condition. It's just everybody moves slower. Low visibility, things move slower. Airplanes arrive late, ground crew moves slower, pilots move slower. Everybody moves a little bit slower in low vis and snow and ice conditions because it is a hazard, right? Why is this showing negative fuel? Are we doing that reserve thing again? We are. And why do we, what? Let me try something. There we go. I don't know what's going on with that. There we go. Had some negative fuel numbers in there. All right, that is done. APU is available. Let's go ahead and start the chrono. And let's take a look at our temps. It's actually nice and toasty in the airplane right now. 32, 37C all the way around. So with the APU online, we'll go ahead and disconnect the GPU and we'll go ahead and pull the ground service information over here as well. We'll pull the GPU and we'll pull the chocks and cones. What we also need to do is get our takeoff speeds. Richard Albright, welcome to Private Pilot, man. Glad to have you on board. This sucks. GSX doesn't simulate full wings and tail or Type 4 fluid. It simulates Type 4 fluid, Darren, but I have not been able to do like a full body with Type 1. I've only done the Type 4 test, but it does simulate it. It does simulate it quite well, actually. It doesn't stick to the airplane like it would in real life, like in P3D, but it's still pretty good. So 3-4 right, we'll sync that. Okay, we are going to use a Toga takeoff for contaminated surfaces. That's going to be our next topic of discussion with packs on and calculatora. Richard Albright, glad you're welcome. Glad you become a member, my friend. Exclamation point welcome if you have any more questions about your perks on the channel. But always a pleasure to have more members join. Thank you so much, man. All right, 3-4 right, we're flaps 2, 20, 35, 35. One, 135, and flaps 2 is, nope.
Bank angle. Bank angle.
I often chase ice on flights too, but it's the stuff on the bar cart. Can I get a refill before pushback?
C2A, cheers to you, my friend. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the $3 banking. I'll check right back at you. Refuel before pushback. Indeed, you can, my friend. Indeed you can. A dry surface. Was there an option for that? Oh, you're absolutely right. Hey, good catch there, Mr. Pilot. Indeed. So our runway surface is wet. Let's go ahead and rerun it. Let's see if it changes it at all. 19, 35, 35. So 1 knot. But had we crash and burn at the end of the takeoff roll, the FAA would wonder, why didn't we run wet runway numbers for takeoff? So good catch there. We're approaching 3 minutes. So I'm going to get the APU bleed on right now, and you're going to hear the air come up, and we're going to cool down the cabin for a little bit. And the reason I'm actually going to cool the cabin is because what we're about to do next will actually make it pretty warm in the cabin if it takes too long. So you're like, why are you cooling the cabin? It's 7 degrees outside. Everybody is freezing. It's actually 1 degree outside right now. So let's talk about the next step that we're going to go through. In this weather condition with light snow falling or visible moisture, so snow, rain, heavy fog, and freezing conditions, it's 1 degree C on the ground right now, there is a potential for snow and ice to accumulate to the aircraft. When that happens, we have to get de-iced. Now there's a couple different methods, but the most common methods for de-icing are using several different types of fluids. Type 1 fluid, which is basically a de-icing agent. It's orange in color, and they spray the whole airplane typically, and that will remove any snow or ice on the aircraft. That is good if there is not falling precipitation, because it cleans the airplane of snow and ice, but it's not the best at keeping the airframe clean from contaminants. So in a condition like this right now, with snow and ice falling and freezing conditions, we need to do a type 1 and type 4 de-ice. Type 4 will come after type 1. So first you'll see the sprayers, they would come with type 1, remove all snow and ice from the entire aircraft. After that is completed, type 4 fluid, if requested, will then be applied typically to wings and tail only. Number one, it's extremely expensive and it's kind of limited in its quantity. So type 4 is basically for the lifting surfaces only, so wings and tail. That's the call, wings and tail only. And it is a green fluid that will adhere, will stick to the lifting surfaces and the tail of the aircraft, and it will stay on there until we reach a certain speed on our takeoff roll, which in that case it will start removing itself from the airframe and it will pull any snow and ice with it. So in active precipitation, you're going to see type 4 fluid being put on the aircraft. And we're going to, since we can't do both with GSX, we're just going to do a type 4 simulation right now, because I don't see any snow and ice out here, but you could theoretically have some nice clear ice, or not clear ice, but like that clear slush building on the airplane. So we're going to do a type 4 only. That's a limitation of the sim. In real world, you'd probably do a type 1 and type 4, because we have to remove snow and ice, and then we need to prevent snow and ice on our taxi out. All right? And type 1 has 0 holdover time. Yeah, that's getting more advanced, exactly. So, is it true you primarily use engine de-ice first? You're getting ahead of me, Mr. Swedish Mountain. We'll get to that here after start. So, everything else is good up front. I never put in our top altitude. Let's just go ahead and set 9,000, and let's go ahead and prepare for pushback. And then I got to talk. So we just talked about what type of fluid we're going to have. But with that being said, we need to also configure the airplane. Ice warning, do you request the de-icing treatment? Yes, we do. Okay, so for de-icing treatment, you can see our cabin is nice and cool now. We need to configure the airplane. for de-ice. What that means is we need to close external holes and vents on the aircraft to prevent this fluid from being sucked into the aircraft ventilation system and making you really sick and making the cabin smell really nasty. So first thing first is we're going to go ahead and turn the APU bleed off. With the APU bleed off, we're going to go ahead and press the ditching push button. The ditching push button is a guarded switch. Confirm ditching push button, confirm. Ditching push button is on. With the ditching push button on, we will then turn off engine 1 bleed, engine 2 bleed, and depending on the aircraft mod, you'll actually turn off pack 1 and pack 2 as well. So at this point, and we no longer need probe and window heat, at this point, the aircraft is completely sealed up. We don't have any packs. They wouldn't be running anyway. We don't have any engine bleeds on. They're not running anyway. And the ditching pushing button on will close the outflow valve and any other openings below the aircraft water line. So with that configuration done, we have now secured the cabin from any outside contaminants. Another massive gifted sub. Who's that coming from? Stephen Hayner. Thank you so much, man, for the 10 gifted subs. Guys, if you pick up a gifted sub from Stephen Hayner, make sure you shout out and say thank you to him. Absolutely awesome. Thank you for your support, my friend. All these gifted subs is good. We'll be doing a podcast here pretty soon as well. So, Stephen, can't thank you enough. You're awesome. Appreciate the support, my friend. All right, here come our de-icing trucks. All chems applied in a special area. So on Type 4 fluid, it's going to be wings and tail. In a special area. So the airport will have a designated de-icing spot. Now in Chicago, use the de-ice at the gate. It just depends on the airport. Sometimes you taxi to a de-icing pad. Other times you do it at the gate. So we are configured. We're going to do Type 4. In real world, we would do Type 1 and 4. We're going to do fluid Type 4. We're going to do 100%. So the real communication would sound similar to this. We would call Iceman on a designated frequency. Iceman is the de-icer, and he would say, American 357, this is Iceman. What fluid are you requesting today? Iceman, American 357. Hi, we need Type 1 full aircraft, and we need Type 4 wings and tail only. Copy. Type 1 and Type 4, and then he'll go ahead and confirm the aircraft is ready for application of fluid. You say yes. And then he will give you a start time, and then he will start applying the fluids. Then he will come back and say Type 1 complete. What was the mixture? What was it made of? And then he will come back and say we're starting at Type 4. And then he will tell us the time, the type of fluid, and the mixture with 100% Type 4 fluid, and the time that they complete the icing as well, which is not as important as the time that it started. But you can see here they're spraying the wings. Now in real life we'd be doing wings and tail, but I mean this is pretty cool to see this. So we are getting de-iced here in Salt Lake, and J-Dub coming in with a $20 sub, or $20 dono, man. Thank you so much, J-Dub. Appreciate you. Here's to chip in for future de-icing fluid costs for this coming winter. J-Dub, awesome, man. Thank you so much for that support. I appreciate you, man. Massive dono. Thank you so much. Glad you're enjoying the content, and I hope you continue to enjoy our winter streams. And now we've got some extra dough now to do the de-icing fluid. Indeed. Thank you, J-Dub. All right, so in real life, that would take a lot longer. Looks like they are pretty much done. And then he'll tell us. So that's a pretty realistic call, except he would give us the brand of the Type 4 fluid that they use, like either I forget what they are. I don't have my iPad with me, but he would give us a brand. Once it is completed, now we would go, boom, chrono on. Now, the reason we turn the chrono on is because we need to limit the amount of time. Well, there's two reasons. One, we need to know how long we've had. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Please stand by until push is completed and brakes are set.
Okay, so we're not going to start until push is completed. But after the de-icing is complete, we have to wait a certain amount of time before we can start opening up valves and bleeds on the airplane.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Okay, stand by. So after the de-icing is, there we go, Clariant Safe Wing LFD. There you go, that's a real fluid. So after the fluid has been applied, we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to go ahead and do the ditching push button on. So we go ditching push button, or excuse me, off. That is now guarded. And now we can go ahead and turn on the
Departure
APU
checks
bleed.
completed. Bypass pin inserted.
So APU bleed is on, but you'll notice I still have the packs and engine bleeds off. What this is going to do now is it's going to allow us to start engines, but we're not going to blow anything into the cabin yet. We still have all of our air conditioning off. So we would start the chrono after the bleed was turned on. We're going to do nose left, tail right, I think. I don't remember. Which way does it go? Nose left or nose right? Uh, 50-50. I want to go nose to my right. Nose left? Shit, I don't know. Let's go nose left. Let's see what happens. I want to go that way.
Locking gear.
All right, so during pushback, we're not going to do an engine start. That could be an SOP thing, could be the type of tug that you're using. Nose right from where you are, Tony. Dang it, that's what I wanted. I was thinking I should have gone nose right, I think. Yeah, because we want to go nose this direction. Oh well, we'll just turn around. Not a big deal. What if your holdover time expires and you're number one in line? Christian,
Release parking
back
brake.
to the ramp you go. Brakes released, clear to push.
Commencing push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by until push is completed and brakes are set.
All right, well, we're going to turn the right. Who told me to go nose left? Should ban you. Zephyr. All right. With the blustery conditions in California desert, I felt like putting chili on top of my army field in Humboldt. Nice. Yeah, we're definitely going the wrong way now. Did we ever turn on the beacon? We did. There we go. Here's a cool question. Do you have to worry about ice in your brake fluid lines? No. No, you do not. That is a closed system there, Eric M Gaming. So the hydraulic lines, everything, if there is a chance to get SkyDraw in there, then that means there's a hole somewhere, which you would then be leaking hydraulic fluid, which would then be worse. You don't want that. So, all right. So now that we've been de-iced, in real life, we would be concerned with what's called a holdover time. Brake set.
Into ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
So
Unlocking gear.
a holdover time is the amount of time that you can go after being de-iced and being allowed to take off. So every type of fluid that you have and the type of application that you have is going to have a certain amount of minutes that it is good for. Whether it's 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 7 minutes, it will also depend on the type of precipitation. And if it is heavy precipitation, the holdover times are going to be less, sometimes shorter than 10 minutes. That's why the most typical configuration for getting de-iced, they typically, airports that do it a lot, will have the de-icing area next to the departure end of the runway, because then it's real easy to just go and get de-iced and then take off.
Bypass pin removed.
So you'd be able to, you don't want to, de-icing at the gate is tough because then you have to taxi all the way out to the runway and you have to do it before your holdover time expires. So that is another real world factor that would come into play that we really don't have to worry about here today. All right, so we've got our pin coming out the left-hand side. If you have water in your hydraulic lines that would freeze, you have way bigger problems. Exactly. There we go. We got a pin. Cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and start engine 1. So,
Clear to start engine.
thank you. All right, we're good to start. APU bleed is on, and we can go engine bleeds on. Engine bleeds 1 and 2 are on. Packs are still off. Let's go ahead and go engine start to ignition start. And once we have bleed pressure, which we do, 28 psi, let's go ahead and turn engine 1. GSX can only de-ice at the gate. Correct, Holbertorch. So that is, I mean, and in sim world, we really don't need to worry about holdover times anyway. But you're absolutely correct, Holbertorch. Unfortunately, it does only allow us to de-ice at the gate. But not totally unrealistic, because there are airports that only do de-icing at the gate. Every time I think of de-icing ice, I think of Air Florida at a DCA. Oh yeah, Jeremy, that's a famous one indeed. So, another factor to consider here. We've done all of our de-icing. I feel like this has been a fire hydrant stream, and I'm tailoring this to really just simming, trying to hit the important tips. There are little things that we have to take into account. But taxiing on contaminated surfaces with the potential of snow and ice, you do not want a single engine taxi. So in today, we are actually going to do a 2-engine taxi, even though we could easily do a single engine taxi. But number 1 is Avail. Let's go ahead and start number 2. With the potential of snow and ice, you don't want to have differential thrust. So we're going to start 2 engines for the 2-engine taxi out. With that said, if there is potential for the aircraft engines to ingest said contaminants, whether it's puddles of water or slush, snow, there is a potential for the engines to accumulate ice on the ground. So we have to do something else after engines start. You guys let me know in the chat what that is as we listen to this engine spool up. We're at a Type 4, but we have Mountain Dew. Oh, yeah. All right, sounds like we got 2. Exactly. Engine anti-ice on, Fubar. Remember, it is technically, in Airbus speak, it is engine anti-ice. So here's our flow. After engine start, we're going to go engine mode switch to normal. We want to arm the speed brakes. We can set our flaps for takeoff, which is flaps 2. We'll do that from here. And then absolutely, we take a look at the ECAM. If it is less than 10 degrees on the ECAM, if it's 10 degrees C or less, and we are in visible moisture, we will indeed turn on engine anti-ice, because engine anti-ice, contrary to the probe and window heat, is not automatic at all. So you can see a little fault light there. That's normal. That's a good representation. So when the valves are in transit, you will get a fault light temporarily on your engine anti-ice. Now, except in some of the Neos, I flew a Neo. I don't know if it was just that particular Neo or if there's a new mod or a new valve, but when I turned the engine anti-ice on, I did not get fault light. So I was like, wow, that's interesting, because all the classics I flew still have the fault light come on, but the new Neo I flew recently didn't have it. I haven't flown another Neo since to try it. All right. With the engines on, we would also wait for, I got distracted there, but the reason I started the timer is because typically you want to wait 3 minutes after the engines have been running and the bleed has been on, because you want to, if there is any of that glycol solution in the air conditioning system, you want it to just suck it up and blow it out the back of the airplane. You don't want to put it in the ventilation. So after about 3 minutes, and again, real procedures, you'd have 2 people up here keeping track of the time and all that stuff. They would have to say, okay, timing is complete. Let's go ahead and turn the air conditioning packs on now, so you don't, so you can cool the cabin. And this is why we cooled the cabin earlier. Look at that. It's 1 degree outside, but it's 37 in the cockpit, 37 in the aft, 31 in the middle. So that's why if you're getting ready to de-ice, maybe you're sitting at the gate and you're wondering why the captain has the air conditioning on. It's probably because he's cooling the cabin, because you're about to be with no air for the next 15 minutes or so while you get de-iced. So you can see now that we have the air conditioning on, the temps are going to start coming down nicely. So that's a real procedure, something you got to think about when you're doing any de-icing, anti-icing. And that would come, I think it's 3 minutes after the bleed has been turned on. That way it has enough time to burn up and push any of that stuff out the exhaust, rather than recirculate it through the packs. All right, we'll go auto brakes max. Takeoff config is checked. We'll go, this goes to a 1, that goes to auto. We don't have any ATC on, so let's just set Unicom 122.8. That is set there, and then we'll go TARA, even though we wouldn't really do this right now, but TARA, that's on. Everything looks good there. You said to remind you to do battery check. I know, I forgot. Well, hopefully it's charged. All right, let's go ahead and get out of here to 3-4 left. We got to make a left 180. We'll go ahead and turn the APU bleed off, master switch off, nose light to the taxi position, brakes released. Cali Simmer. Bank angle check right back at you, my friend. So hold on, let me read that message again because I got cut off on my OBS. Thank you, number one, for the $10 dono there. Appreciate you, man. Bank angle check right back at you. Chance, can you discuss GSX settings? Okay. As far as settings are concerned, Christy is actually the guy that I use for any assistance when it comes to this, because I'm actually pretty poor with setting up my airports and profiles. I just run default right now. The only thing I know how to do is to exclude third-party airports in the main QTOL window. I might, if I can dig into it a little bit later, remind me maybe at the end of the stream. I can see if I could pull up some GSX stuff for you, but my knowledge of GSX is pretty poor itself, and I don't really use GSX on arrival either, unfortunately. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I just use GSX for the visual loading and de-icing now. But Roberto Soriano, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Glad to have you on the chat, man. Throttletek is in the house himself. Good to see you, man. I hope all is well, Roberto. Let's go ahead and see where we're going here before we start going down the wrong taxiway. All right, so we need to turn right to go to 3-4 right. So let's go ahead and spool them up. I did put 3-4 right in. We're going to 3-4 right. Right? We are going to 3-4 right. 3-4 right. You guys are tripping me out. We're going to turn right down here. You guys are tripping me out. No ATC, unfortunately, online. Captain, I think you turned the weather radar off. Uh-oh. The weather radar that doesn't work? I'll take a look at it, Gina. Roberto says, all good. Have a great flight. We'll be able to ship third batch very soon. So if you are waiting for a Throttletek hardware order, looks like the third batch of, thank you, Ginar. The third batch of throttles is going to be shipping very soon. Always a pleasure to see that, Roberto. Thank you for your support, man. Absolutely loving the hardware. I think we're going to be firing up the Boeing throttles here later this week as well, but I'm just loving the Airbus right now. The Fenix update is just really, really nice. Thank you, man. Good to hear that. Jarrett Hanna says $5 for, thank you, man. Thank you for the $5 super chat. If airplanes get transferred from hot climate to cold climate, or the other way around, do you find the airplanes have more problems? Jarrett, not really. Thank you for your super chat, man. Here's an interesting thing for you. A lot of these airplanes, well, every airplane that's commissioned, or every airplane that is developed, designed, does do exactly that. They actually take it through shock testing. So I remember there was an Embraer 190 that would come to Deer Valley Airport in Phoenix in the summertime because they were trying to do some hot weather testing. Basically, they'd fly it up to, 39,000 feet where it's really cold, and then do a descent right back down to where it's 115. And you're doing that test. So all the commercial aircraft actually go through that type of testing. I don't know if if I would associate any faults or anything like that to just the climates being off, but I know where you're going. I know where your head's at with that. But these airplanes are actually test specifically for that in development. So thank you for your super chat, man. Deer Valley is your home airport, Tony Johns? Really? Did a lot of flying there. 400 viewers on the stream before takeoff. Absolutely fantastic, guys. If you like this kind of content, if you like engine anti-ice and cold weather operations, smash down that like button. Helps the channel out. Appreciate y'all here with me today. All right, 3-4 left. I'll go all the way to the end. Here's another thing too, is you could do all your control checks, all taxiing, but with the potential for there to be icy surfaces, I just do it when we're stopped, unless I know the specific taxiway that I'm on is indeed 100% clear. So let's go ahead and jaunt over to the left here. Man, look at this weather, though. This is crazy. It's like a mixture of snow and ice. Okay. Roberto was also working on a tiller, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome. Good to hear it. That's right. So guys, if you are interested in a tiller, the one that I currently have is no longer produced, but Roberto over at Throttletek is indeed working on a new product for the tiller. That'll be fun. There'll be more information on that to come at a later date for sure. More like crew familiarization with different climates. Oh, like oh, I see what you're saying, Travis. You know what? As easy as a little bit. Is that a little bit of snow accumulation right there? Oh my goodness. You know, I hate to say it, but Travis, unfortunately, events like that, like the Air Florida crash and everything, that is due to a couple things: complacency, unfamiliarity. Is that a word? But ultimately, it is pilot error, right? Because in training, every pilot is trained to deal with the situation. So even the South Florida Miami pilot, that's where he's based. He just does Florida and southbound. In his training, he has to be trained and checked on cold weather operations. Now, like with a lot of things in life, if you don't use it, you lose it. And unfortunately, in the world of aviation, if you lose it, it could cost you your life. So yes, everybody should be trained. It's just, it comes down to that familiarity. And here's the other thing too. It's also written in your checklist, right? So you have checklists to cover these items, these cold weather operation items. And if you just so used to running a checklist, you start anticipating and doing things, going through the motions, but not actually doing them, that's how bad things happen. All right. Here we go. Let's do a flight control check real quick. We'll go full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. We need to be 0.2 down on the trim. That is set. Okay, let's talk real quick before we take off. Let's talk about the icing procedures here on the takeoff. So engine anti-ice is on. All right, we got engine anti-ice on. Looks like snow is beginning to accumulate. This is unbelievably awesome. Smash down the like button for this juice. I mean, the snow is starting to accumulate out here. This is unbelievable. So we have engine anti-ice on. That's good. What is another thing we need to worry about? Well, wing anti-ice. Why don't we have wing anti-ice on? Right now on the ground, if I were to turn the wing anti-ice on, it would actually run through a test sequence and then turn off. Okay. Now, the procedures for wing anti-ice in the Airbus specifically, they state that it is, I can't remember if the exact wording, but basically the procedure is once the airplane is in a clean wing configuration, meaning slats and flaps are at position 0, you can then turn on your wing anti-ice. You don't turn it on before takeoff. You don't turn it on while you're taxiing. You turn it on after you have achieved a clean wing, because we are absolutely in icing conditions. We need to get the wing heat on, so we're going to do it after the wing is in a clean configuration, or flaps and slats in position 0. Right now, if you were looking at the wing in real life, you would still see that green film on this wing here at about 80, I don't know, it's like, I forget the speed, and it depends on the type of fluid, about 80 knots or so. The fluid would actually start to come off. You'll see it streak off of the lifting surface here, and it will bring any of this accumulated snow, slush, whatever it may be, it'll actually bring it with it right off of the airplane. So pretty neat. Pretty neat. And I think we're ready. So Salt Lake traffic, American 357, I'm going to line up on way 34 right to Salt Lake. All right, brakes released. Line up and wait. Wing light on, extend those. That goes on, and that we need to go on. Let's line up and wait 34 right. So no lollygagging at the hold bar, Captain. I know, we need to get going. Our holdover time is fast approaching. I mean, this is next level realism. Look at that. This is so real. Oh, all my realism just went away. That sucked. Also, try to use all available runway. Sim Aviator, what's up, man? Yeah, my Microsoft just pulled an X-Plane on me. It just went to X-Plane mode. Shots fired. What's up, Sim Aviator? Good to see you, man. All right, 3-4 right confirmed. Here we go. Let's go. Let's do this. Lights coming on. How many people in chat? We have 459 viewers watching. You think we can hit 300 likes? If we can hit 300 likes before takeoff, you guys are absolutely going to crush it. If we don't hit 300 likes before takeoff, we're not going to do a Cat 3 Autoland. So that's the deal. Spool them up 50. Yoga's in chat. Enjoy the sounds. Smash down that like button. If we don't hit 300 when I go Toga, we're not going to do a Cat 3. Oh my goodness, listen to that. 283? Oh, no one wants to see a Cat 3 Autoland tonight? Alright, well, if you guys say so. Let it update one more. Oh my gosh, 302. Absolute savages. Let's go. Yoga. Brakes released. Here we go. Did we turn the lights on? We did. You guys are absolute savages. Mantoga SRS runway auto thrust is blue. Here we go. Thrust set. 100 knots. Check. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Goodbye, Salt Lake. Fly with. Can't see anything. Can't see anything. So let's just fly the airplane. No lollygagging on the departure because we want to clean the wing up, right? We want to clean the wing up. All right, there's our acceleration altitude. There's our positive trend. I'm actually going to leave it in Toga here for a second. Let's go flaps 1. Remember, I'm trying to expedite cleaning up the wing. Nice positive trend. Let's go into our first detent, which is MCT thrust. At this point, we would also probably get a heading American 357, turn left, flight heading 320. Left turn 320, American 357. Now remember, MCT is just that. It's max continuous thrust. There is no time limit on it. It gives you just a little extra juice until you actually reach your flexed number, which we're not flexing. So a little bit of reduction here now. We'll go into the climb detent. Thrust climb. Auto thrust. Man, that thrust reduction sound is awesome. Here comes S speed. We'll clean this one up from right here. Flap 0. All right, there's not much to see, so we'll go autopilot 1 on. Flaps and slats are position 0. Wing anti-ice on. Fault light illuminates until the valve is in agreement, which it is. Actually heard a reduction of power as we increase the bleed. Pretty cool. Let's continue our climb now to 12,000 and go direct Corver. Direct to Corver, American 357. American 357, climb and maintain, flight level 380. Climb and maintain, flight level 380, American 357. Why is my fuel amber? We actually don't have an alternate. There we go. All right, 250. We're cleaned up. Our wing is heating, and we are out of there. Crimson Ghost, I agree with you, man. The engine sounds are very, very good. All right, so again, let's do a temp check. We are +3 on the TAT. Now it's +2. We're still in the active icing range, so we're going to keep all of our engine and wing anti-ice on. Oh, look at that. A little bit of a breakout showing there. Getting ready to go through 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and get the lights in. And a forward call. Join late. Why is it important to clean up early? Because we are trying to clean the wing up so we can get our wing anti-ice on, because we are in active icing conditions. Oh man, I don't know where to sit for the breakout. Let's sit right here. This is too cool. The wind noise seems a bit excessive. Crimson Ghost, I heard it's going to be tweaked in their latest update. I'm hoping I get to try it here pretty soon. Hopefully they drop it soon. But they are working on the rate of which it changes. Is it plus 10 that's safe? It's 11 that would be safe, Mika. So 11 degrees and up are safe. At 10, theoretically, that is the beginning of the window, right? So at 10, while highly unlikely that you would accumulate ice, it is still possible. Are our lights on still?
Salt Lake City traffic, American Airlines, no paper right.
Great question from Sim Aviator. I'm gonna tackle this one from a wing view here where it's a little bit quieter. He says, on Boeing, you got to move start switches to continuous when anti-ice is on to prevent flameout from melted ice. Is there something similar when you put the start switch to crank? Sim Aviator. Very good question. And ironically, it's weird because on the CFM version, which Boeing has CFMs, there is no automatic ignition when the anti-ice or flaps are extended. In the IAEs, when the flaps are extended or the engine anti-ice is on, the ignition automatically turns on as well. So Airbus technically says you don't need to turn the start switch to ignition in icing conditions with CFMs, but the IAEs do it as an automatic prevention. So that's something that would be very SOP-ish. Yeah, the wind noise now is extremely loud. Let's see if we can bust out of this. Let's come back to like 270 because the wind noise is just really loud up there. So with the CFM engines, theoretically, you don't need to turn the ignition on. But in the IEs, they come on automatically. So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. But theoretically, no, you don't need to do it. Now, remember, the engine anti-ice we turned on the ground. So there really should be no ice breaking up and getting ingested into the engines. Also, in the Airbus manual, it states that engine anti-ice should be turned on before entering icing condition. That way it has time to warm up. That way ice never gets to accumulate. That way you never have to rip it up through the engine. So I see where Boeing's coming from, but that's just more Boeing being Boeing and Airbus being Airbus. But I think it's interesting that the CFMs, it doesn't automatically come on, which that's what the Boeing has, the CFMs. Maybe it has to do with the position maybe of the engines. I don't know. I do not know. Lauren, you're also correct. In the Neos, it does not automatically come on either. Absolutely correct. Well, oh my word, look at that breakout. Oh my absolute goodness gracious me. This is real life, folks. Lone Wolf, howdy, long-time listener, first-time caller. Great stuff. Lone Wolf, hey, thank you so much, man, for stopping by, and thank you for the chat message. Glad you're enjoying the content, whether you're a first-time caller. Appreciate you, man. I think I missed your initial thoughts on the wind noise in the new update. AA, as a headphone user, I find it really aggressive. I trade some realism to turn the noise down. Aaron, I agree with you 100%. And Phoenix has heard us, so it seems a little bit quieter now, but still not as quiet. So how we at? We are -3, so we're still in and out of the clouds. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it on right now. I'm going to leave it on because we're in and out of the clouds. Now, in real life, when you're out of the cloud like this, we would just turn it off. But because Microsoft tends to be a little bit finicky with ice, and even though it may accumulate on your airplane, even though you're not in a cloud, I would recommend you keep your engine anti-ice on until you are well above the icing conditions. Just because Microsoft tends to throw ice on your airplane, even though you're maybe not in the actual cloud itself. Wow, let's go to full live cam here because this is unreal. This is awesome. Aaron, but to piggyback on your question there, man. So I agree with you 100%, and I think, Aaron, they're actually the latest update said they're tweaking the sound noise already. So it's going to be more linear. So if you slow down, it should be less wind noise than you already hear now. So I hope, if long-term solution, we get a slider But I'm right there with you, man. I would love to have a slider to turn it down for real, you know, sacrifice some realism on that. But look at this. Are you kidding me right now? This is screenshot. I need juice. I need Microsoft. I need Kool-Aids in chat. This just look at this view. Are you kidding me? I'm going 200 of 200 character Kool-Aids because this is blowing my mind. This is absolutely blowing my mind. Is the ice buildup modeled in the Fenix? Fighterer, that's a great question. I have not done it without the ice on to see if it accumulates or not. I know in the fly-by-wire you can see it, but I don't know if that has to do with the native Microsoft model. But unfortunately, I haven't just flown in icing with the ice off to see if it would accumulate. That's a good question. And Blue Mac, there you go. He has the questions. His Fenix is adding a slider for the wind sound next update. Super Deal Aviation. I am not using FS Realistic. Here's the thing. This is a new... I don't know how true this is or not. I read somewhere, I don't know if it was in my Discord or I was listening to a stream somewhere, that FS Realistic, with its movements that it imparts on the aircraft, depending on the airplane you are flying, it could actually conflict with the very flight model of the airplane you are flying. I was flying the King Air off stream with FS Realistic, and I'm like, something doesn't feel exactly right here. So I turned FS Realistic off, and it flew much better. Then I saw, I think it was in the Fenix Discord, where the turbulence and stuff like that actually can conflict with the Fenix airplane model itself. So I've turned FS Realistic off. I basically haven't used it at all right now. And I don't know how true that is. I just remember reading it, and then I remember turning it off. I'm like, oh, it does feel better without it on. So I'm just rocking no FS Realistic right now. Sim Aviator. Microsoft big. Microsoft do something good, break something else. Hey, man. At least my replay works. I saw you last night. Landing on the invisible runway. I saw it. All right, we're above 22. Let's go ahead and pull standard STDs for you, me, and Sim Aviator. 1, 2, and 3 is set, and we'll go ahead and manage the speed here in the climb out. Actually, you know what? No, we're gonna keep it at 270 because I still want to get above these clouds here. If I were to manage speed right now, we would be delaying our time in these clouds, which could increase our chance of ice accumulation. So another real world technique, I'll pull the selected speed back to get a higher climb rate when I'm trying to get through some of these cloud layers that contain ice and snow, or turbulence for that matter. Jeremy says you told a story about getting 2 inches of ice on your vertical stab in the Airbus on approach and you didn't even know it, but the controls were mushy. Yes. Into Detroit. Yeah. Scary stuff, Jeremy. That's a good topic starter for getting into how these icing systems work as far as wing and engine once we get to cruise. So I'm going to hang on to that thought, Jeremy, but you're absolutely right, because the vertical stab isn't heated, but I've seen ice on it. So, and it's not uncommon to see ice on the vertical stab. Airbus has determined that for some reason you don't need it. So we shall see. All right, looks like we're getting ready to pop off the top here. Look at this. Mika, I saw that first-person walking mode. That's pretty neat. Beef Jesus, exactly. Steeper climb rate, giving you a steeper climb gradient, exactly. But a slower indicator. So like right now, we just broke out. So now I'm going to go like this. I'm going to push for managed speed and watch what happens. So we need to accelerate to 7.9 Mach. While the airplane is accelerating, what's going to happen to our vertical speed? It's going to come significantly lower. But that's okay because we're already above the clouds. Now, looking at the temperatures, here is where we need to... This is where flying swept wing and jet aircraft at high altitude, the icing ranges now become a little bit different. I got to turn down the sim even more here. So, plus 10 C on the TAT, and minus 10C on the TAT are our active icing ranges when the aircraft is in visible moisture. Can't stress that enough. Visible moisture. Snow, clouds, rain, heavy fog. Even like low visibility, 8th mile visibility is what? It's a cloud. You're basically in a cloud, so that is visible moisture. In the plus 10, minus 10 TAT window. Now, when you start talking about flying fast jets, swept wing aircraft, high altitude, our minus 10 TAT really doesn't apply to us anymore. We will keep the engine anti-ice on and the wing anti-ice if we're actively icing until reaching minus 40 on the SAT. Once we are at minus 40 in the climb, now it's actually safe, theoretically, to turn off the ice. Now, because Microsoft is Microsoft, I'm going to go a little bit higher up here to get away from this because I don't know how realistic Microsoft has this working. But theoretically, until you reach minus 40, so even if we were at minus 15, but it was like minus 38 on the SAT, you would still keep the engine anti-ice on because we need to account for compressibility. So as air goes over the airplane, it actually creates a skin friction. Friction creates heat, right? That's why we have such a difference in temperature there, 16 and minus 42. So for climb out, we keep the engine anti-ice on in visible moisture from plus 10 TAT to minus 40 SAT in the climb out. So we're going to keep it on a little bit, even though we're right on the limit, we're going to keep it on here until we get well clear. Remember that American Eagle ATR that crashed due to ice? Very serious stuff. Yes, I do. I actually know somebody who was best friends with the first officer. Sad story. Sad day. Sad day indeed. Care explaining TAT or SAT? That's a great question, and I should let me break down the two temperatures because this can actually be a kind of a confusing topic for those that aren't classically trained. So, like a basic temperature. Let me back up. SAT, or the saturated air, or the static air temperature, static air temperature is the temperature of the air outside. That is how cold it is right now outside. It's minus 44 outside. But, like I said earlier, the airplane is moving through the air very rapidly, right? We're moving at 80 Mach. The air going over the surface of the aircraft creates friction. Friction also can create drag. It's also, it's all physics, right? It's all connected. But friction specifically creates heat. So the temperature that the airplane's skin feels is the TAT. Okay, the TAT, or sometimes it's referred to as RAT, the ram air temperature, is minus 18. It's slightly warmer than the outside air temperature because the air is being warmed as it goes across the surface of the airframe. So that is kind of that's the basic difference between TAT and SAT. SAT is your true outside air temperature, and the TAT is kind of like your ram air temperature. It is your ram air. It is the temperature that the skin of the airplane is feeling because it is moving through the air and it warms it up. There you go. Lauren V is it. By moving through the air, you add energy to the air, which causes it to heat up. Exactly. All right, so we are pretty much well outside of any icing condition now. We'll go ahead and turn our engine anti-ice off. And that looks good. Now, I forgot to check. I forgot to show you guys on stream, but when you turn the engine anti-ice on the ground, it has a very nice simulation of the Fenix of the N1 rise. All right, so we're 30.8, climbing to flight level 380. Let's put Portland, KPDX, in our box here. We're 443 miles away. We got a little bit of time to cruise, which is awesome. We're going to talk more about icing conditions and stuff. Have you tried using the realistic side stick option? I have not, Rahul. I have not. Haven't even done the landing since the last time we streamed this airplane. So I'm still rocking the old school, just the regular Fenix side stick feel. I need to mess around with it a little bit more. I just haven't had the time. I haven't had the time to do any more test landings with it. But I'm from what I gather, that heavy feel is designed for side sticks with the dampeners in them. So it might actually work better for maybe some of the VKB, or excuse me, not VKB. What is it? Verpal bases, anything with hydraulic cams and dampeners. The Warthog base, as of right now, I'm gonna tell you, the landing I did on the very first time I tried the new update, it felt the best with what I had default, which is linear curve, so I have no curves, and I'm using the regular feel. I'm not using the heavy feel. I'm gonna be cruising at about 7.9 Mach at 38. Remember my icing stream on the 321 last year, Simulator? Yes, of course, man. I do remember that. Flamed out at, or no, you didn't flame out. You iced up and like cruised, didn't you? On the descent. I remember that one, man. Indeed. All right, what did I miss here? Trying to catch back up to some stuff that I messed up. My overlay disconnected from the sim. That is weird, huh? How was the rubber for the FSprojects side stick? The rubber, you talking about the base here? Dude, it's straight out of the real airplane. So this rubber base it literally feels like it's right out of the airplane. I mean, it is straight realistic. So I am trying to figure out why my Fly Live didn't work here. Let me see if I can resync it for you guys. Where did we depart? Salt Lake to PDX. 357. Boom, boom. Hit me, baby, one more time. There we go. Hey, it's working. Mike P coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. In a future stream, can you give a short lesson on procedure turns? Ooh. Indeed, Mike P. Thank you for your super chat, man. I appreciate you. Procedure turns. That seems like a great lesson for instructor cam, where we can use a whiteboard again. Mike P, thank you so much for your super chat. I will indeed look at that. Look at that indeed for procedure turns and entries and things of that nature. You got it, my friend. Absolutely. I'll tell you right now, Mike P, the most basic form of procedure turn information, but it's also the most important thing. You must understand on any procedure turn or any hold, there is a protected side and a non-protected side. The protected side is the side of which the aircraft is holding. So if you are holding on the east side of a fix, that east side is the protected side. So when you enter that hold or procedure turn, theoretically, it does not matter which procedure turn you do as long as you are turning into the protected side. Where you fail check rides in your instrument check ride, and you can piss off ATC and or you can kill yourself, is when you do a turn or an entry to the non-protected side of a hold. Now, in the Airbus, super easy, super nice for us, it calculates the entries for you. But in older aircraft, turboprops, you're doing GA stuff, anything without round gauge, FMS, nav, anything like that, you're going to need to calculate the hold entry. So when in doubt, just make sure you let it on the protected side. Flight Sim School, $15 Canadian super chat, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for that massive donor. He says, I missed the stream of the King Air the other day, but watched the replay last night and it felt like a masterclass in turboprop operations. Absolutely loved it. Flight Sim School. Hey, dude, I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, thank you, number one, for your donor. Of course, I appreciate that support. It's very kind of you, very generous. But I very much appreciate the fact that you took the time to comment and say that you enjoyed the King Air stream, because the King Air and turboprops, GA in general, is not a very attractive thing to stream, whether for multiple reasons. Number one, it's a high workload environment for me. So it makes it difficult for me to be interactive with the chat because there's a lot of things I have to manage in the airplane itself. Number two, for some reason, the viewership is always down on that stuff, and I think it's just because the general interest amongst the YouTube and simmers is they want to see big jets. They want to see commercial airlines. They want to see big metal. They want to see that. So combining those factors, it can make for a challenge of motivation as a content creator to fly that airplane, even though I deeply love flying turboprops. They are way more fun to fly than the Airbus, than the 737, than any other jet. Flying a King Air around is probably the most fun you can have with your pants on. So even though I deeply enjoy it, it makes it hard to stream. So when y'all comment and say that you actually enjoy that, it just makes me feel even better that I got to do it for you. So appreciate that, Flight Sim School. Hope you enjoy the rest of this flight. Wrong Side Sim is also in the house, man. Good to see you, dude. Thank you for the $10 super chat as well. He says, hey, V, question for my knowledge. Uh-oh. For takeoff planning, what dictates using wing or engine and wing anti-ice versus just engine? I never know to plan both, so I just plan engine. So, Wrong Side Sim, that is an interesting question, and I assume you are, well, first off, thank you for your $10 super chat. And you're wondering what dictates using the engine and wing anti-ice versus just engine. Now, I actually don't have a great answer for you because, and we talked about this a little bit before we took off, the Airbus, the book states, and even in our SOPs, it states that you will turn on wing anti-ice after the airplane has a clean wing. So that means at flaps 0. In the Airbus, if you turn on wing anti-ice on the ground, it's going to go through a self-test, and then it's actually going to shut off. So even though you have the push button on, it's not going to run on the ground. Now there is a way. There's the maintenance test function. That's how they would test it using the maintenance test. I think it's like a 30-second test. Maybe it's a minute or something. I can't remember how long it would stay on. But you can actually take off with wing anti-ice on. For our airplanes anyway, the ones that I fly. I don't know if there is a new mod, and here's the thing, Airbus is kind of like a Swiss Army knife when it comes to different mods. Different operators can put so many different types of equipment on a specific Airbus that it may be vastly different from one that I'm familiar with. But from all the Airbuses that I'm familiar with, you can't even run wing anti-ice on the ground for more than the self-test phase. So I think that comes into play for maybe it's just a way to degrade your takeoff performance to get a more conservative number. I think that's maybe what's coming into play there is you would have that option turned on if you needed to degrade your performance even more to have a more conservative calculation for takeoff. But for us, even taking off in moderate ice, I remember one time taking off out of Chicago, moderate ice, everyone's calling it in. It's like, oh boy, here we go. You can't turn it on until you get a clean wing. So I keep the power in that MCT a little bit longer so I can speed up faster and get the wing clean so then I can turn on the wing anti-ice. That's my long-winded answer. I wish I had a better one for you. Maybe you can dig around and find something on your end for the difference of that. But that's all I got for you, man. I wish I had a better answer myself. And if you find some more information, do let me know, because I would be curious myself. Careful if you won these days. The sticklers get really upset with people using protected and unprotected verbiage. Really? You're talking about the current examiners? How so, Beef? Jeremy says, are you forbidden from flying a hold with flaps extended when in icing condition? Yes. Do not hold with flaps and with flaps extended in icing conditions.
The one that you think MSFS is missing right now, at your point that you would like to be implemented or put to say that you stay completely in MSFS.
Super deal. Spanking, I'll check right back at you, man. Thank you for the $1. Don't know. What is missing in Microsoft right now? Just more airplanes, man. Bring me more airplanes. That's really all I care about right now. I think the 7.3, the Phoenix, Black Square King Air, all great. I'm having fun with all of them. I like the way the sim feels. I like the way the sim looks. I like the performance of the sim. So, man, just continue to bring airplanes. That's all I really looking forward to. All right, we'll turn the seatbelt sign off right now. We're cruising at 7.9 Mach. Everything looks good. We'll take a little chill here. Let me get to the rest of these super chats, then I'm going to grab my water, and then we're going to talk more systems for the anti-ice. I came for the big medal. I stay for the GA fun. James Monks, thank you for that. Appreciate your support, dude. Tom Pasco coming in with 31 months of support. Thank you so much, man. Commercial pilot member. He says, your 350 streams are among my favorite. I've gone back and rewatched them, especially if I haven't been in the Air 4 Labs for a while. Wow, Tom, I'm happy to know that, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for your continued support, my friend. Looks like you're getting close to that new badge emoji as well with 31 months. That's awesome, dude. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you. I'm glad you like the 350 streams. I might do more of like a members-only stream with the 350. I was actually thinking about doing maybe some just recorded videos of the 350 because there's so much information when it comes to turboprop operation that it's hard to get in one stream. You know, I could sit there and talk for an hour with the engines running before even taxiing to the runway. So maybe I have to be in video form. Wrong Side Sim says, makes perfect sense. It's an option for us in aero data to use, and I agree with your theory. Did you call dispatch or to confirm holdover time that day? And O'Hare, we get nervous as hell when we get these calls. Yes. I'm trying to remember. Actually, no. So it wasn't. This was the thing. So there was no snow or precipitation. It was literally a cloud layer at 500 feet. So everybody landing, coming in was saying, hey, we're getting moderate ice between, I think it was like 3,000 and the ground, essentially. So it was like a 3,000 foot thick layer of ice people were accumulating. And I actually brought it up. I was like, so is there anything in the book that says we cannot take off into this condition? So it doesn't say flight into known icing is prohibited. It just says it's not recommended. It also says do not hold in icing condition. It says do not hold in icing condition with flap extended. So there was nothing in the book prohibiting us from takeoff. But I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, so we know there's moderate icing. Nothing in the book or in our SOP says we cannot take off from here. And funny thing is, when we stopped, I said, hey, we need to stop and we need to look in the book about this if we can take off in these conditions. The other airline in front of me, who was number one, said, hey, yeah, we can't take off yet either. We need to double check. So they actually stopped. They were cleared for takeoff, and they said, no, hold on, we're going to hold. So we kind of started that chain reaction, and everyone was started to dig through their books, like, can we actually take off in moderate ice, known moderate icing conditions? But everyone ended up taking off and everything was fine. So, of course, in that specific scenario, you have to look at what are some things that we can do as a flight crew to mitigate our time in that icing window. Number one, we knew our clearance altitude initially was, I think it was like 7,000 or 8,000 feet. So I knew we were going to climb above it right away. We weren't going to hold in it. All of our systems were operational. We ended up doing a flex takeoff because I wanted to get airborne as quickly and I wanted to accelerate as quickly as possible. So we did a flex takeoff. It happened to be flaps 1, so we only had one notch of flaps to get the wing anti-ice on. So we did a no flex, flap 1 takeoff, and we busted through that layer as quick as we could. And I actually held the speed back, I think, about 180 knots to help us accelerate, really punch through that icing window. And it did build up quick. I mean, we were probably less than a minute in that window of ice, and it built up quick. You could see it on the windows, see it on the probes, so you even saw it on the sharklets. So, yeah, busted right through. The most important question, V1, did you get a pumpkin spice latte today? Who was that? I just thought... Callie Simmer, man. No, I did not get a PSL today, man. But I did get a Chick-fil-A iced coffee. How's that? Does that count? I got a Chick-fil-A iced coffee before the stream. No PSL today. Migs donating a $20 Canadian super chat, man. Thank you so much. And he just dropped 5 more gifted subs. Goodness, Migs is on an absolute roll. Thank you, Migs. Shout out, Migs, for the continued support and the massive $20 super chat, my friend. He says, the GA turboprop streams are always a refreshing change to the usual flight sim fare on YouTube. I say keep doing them every so often, regardless of numbers. A lot of us will still be here supporting the channel. Migs, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. That means a lot. It absolutely does. And, indeed, you know what? I'm not going to change it anywhere, and in fact, we might even do another one coming up soon. It's peak season right now, so I still follow like my old freight airline and friends that I flew freight with, and I get memories that come up on Facebook or whatever it may be saying, oh, this is peak season. It's like peak season in the freight world sucks because every day you're full of cargo, like you're full. It's a ton of work. You're busy. The schedules are maxed out because everyone's ordering stuff for holidays and all that stuff. So we may have to do another one here in the near future again, just because I enjoy it so much, and you're absolutely right. Screw the numbers, right? Forget the numbers. Let's just do it for fun. Chick-fil-A iced coffee? Yeah, John Franco. I had limited options, my friend. Limited options. I am still flying to Portland. Yes, I am. All right, I'm going to get my water bottle, and because I left it behind me. I'm going to get my water, and then we're going to, let's continue some more talk about the icing, exactly how they work. Unfortunately, I left my iPad at home, so I can't tell you more specifics, but everything else looks good. How are we doing? We're 332 miles, and boom. Okay, so we'll talk about some more, we'll brush up on some more anti-ice, de-ice, and then we should be starting to get ready, and we'll actually have to prep for a Cat 3 landing into Portland. So here we go. We'll be right back. All right. Do I ever fly Amazon packages? Jeremy, that's a great question. Was Amazon really a big deal when I was flying freight? I honestly can't remember, dude. I may have. I mean, surely. When did Amazon start? Surely I flew Amazon packages, right? I'm sure I did. I remember some of my fullest days were Mother's Day. You would literally have a plane full of flowers from You Flowers. So, yeah, Mother's Day, you would have an airplane full of flowers. It'd be one of the rare times where your cargo, you would actually become full of capacity, but you were still way underweight because the boxes meant nothing. Now, on one of my particular routes, when I was flying in Texas, I would actually fly to a little fracking town, mining town. So a lot of my cargo was extremely heavy and like obnoxiously shaped. So I'd take some big drilling bits, mechanical arms, pistons, a lot of heavy stuff going up to fracking town. But then when coming into DFW, I'd take a lot of other like random stuff too. So yeah, peak season though, man, it's crazy. Peak season is absolutely crazy. The routes you take or look on these freight trips are super interesting. I get to see airports, procedures, and ops that I normally never go anywhere near on Microsoft MiGs. We have to do one. The next one will have to be one of the most, I don't know, it's pretty ugly flying in Texas. It's panhandle flying, flat land. But I'm kind of curious to see how it looks and if it brings back any of those old memories. One of my old routes going to the middle of nowhere, Texas. Pampa, Texas. Had anybody in chat even ever heard of Pampa? Like, it is literally the butthole of Texas. I mean, nothing up there. I say that. I mean, the people are amazing up there. Have some really good friends. Donut shop, 10 for 10. That was like the highlight of every single day. Going to the donut shop, I probably gained 20 pounds just from this Harvester's Donuts. But, I mean, it is middle of nowhere, BFE, Texas, my friends. We'll have to recreate one of those routes here pretty soon. All right, a couple more. Let's talk about a little bit more of the wing anti-ice. So let's start with the wing anti-ice. We know now it's the outboard 3 slats. So I believe it's slats 3, 4, and 5 are the only ones heated. So it's pretty common that if you fly through icing conditions, when you get on the ground, do a post-flight walk-around, that you'll actually see some ice accumulated right here on the inboard slat and actually on slat 2 as well. So this is 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5 are out there on the tip. Now, why do you guys think that it's only important that slats 3, 4, and 5 are heated? I'm going to try to find a better view here. So we'll get some guesses in chat. There's a specific reason why only, well, there's a couple reasons, but there's a main reason why slats 3, 4, and 5, right out here, are the only ones heated on the wing anti-ice. What do you guys think in chat? Give me some answers. John Franco, you seen Clarksville, New Boston, and Paris, Texas, but Pampa? Yep, Pampa. KPPA, I believe it's the PPA. On a map, northeast of Amarillo. Exactly, Lauren. I used to talk to Amarillo Approach to get me down in there to Pampa. Because it's facing the wind. Well, they're all facing the wind on the leading edge, right? Different parts of the wing stall first. You're getting there. Wings need to flex. That's a good answer, but not really. Generates the most lift. They carry the bulk of this lift load. Stalls, wing wash. Okay, you guys are all hitting right around it. Let me go to outside view. You guys are pretty. So because of the stall characteristics of the wing, that is partially correct. So you're partially correct on the stalls. So the way that the Airbus wing stalls, it'd actually be more important to protect the outboard. But there's also another reason too. So if you were trying to do stall recovery, you got to level the wings, right? Most likely. How are you going to manipulate the wings? What is out here towards the tip? We got an aileron out here. So yes, because of where it is stalling, and if you have ice build up on your airplane, you're going to deform this leading edge here, which would then remove the effectiveness of the ailerons as well. So the ailerons, while yes, you could still turn without the ailerons because you have a roll spoiler on each wing, but the aileron will also be protected. So it's kind of a two-part answer. You've got the direction of the stalling of the wing, oh my goodness, and it actually protects your aileron effectiveness during icing conditions. And J-Dub has dumped a massive $20, oh my goodness, or 20 gifted sub to everybody in chat. Wow. So I'm actually I'll pause the alert box for this one. J-Dub. Absolutely awesome, man, dude. Thank you so much for that support. Really, really appreciate you. That is a huge gift to the channel. So if you guys nab a membership, shout out to J-Dub. Make sure you have !welcome so you can get access to all of the perks here with your new membership. Absolutely awesome support, J-Dub. Appreciate you, my friend. But yes, you are right. So stalling from the outside in, this is actually a more critical of a wing surface. It's more critical for the aerodynamic purposes of the wingtip, creating the most lift, stalling from the outside in, and you're protecting the aileron effectiveness. So slats 3, 4, and 5 will protect all of that. Slats 1 and 2 would really just be a waste of energy, of heating element, right? You would have to take more bleed because each one of these slats is heated from the bleed stage, I believe. I don't have my book with me. I believe it's the 13th stage of compression in the IAE motors. So it is the compression section of the engine where the hot air is extracted and it will vent to the leading edge. Now, the more slats you heat, the more air you're going to need. So you really have to do and Airbus has to do a calculation on what is the most critical part of the wing that we need to protect, and for lift and for control. And that would be the outboard 3. So the whole leading edge is not heated. It's just those outboard 3 slats on each wing. So you have 6 slats heated in total. But again, thank you, J-Dub, man. Really appreciate that. Absolutely epic, absolutely epic membership dono there. Awesome, awesome stuff, man. 1 and 2 might catch a whiff of heat off the engines. Probably not, but maybe. I mean, I think it's pretty much nil. So, all right. So now that we know that the outboard's 3 slats are the ones that are heated, and we know that it comes from the compression stage of the engine, we'll go back inside here. When you turn on the wing anti-ice, it's a pretty significant performance impact. It's a pretty significant performance impact on the aircraft as well. So because of that, it is a recommendation that when you are flying an approach with wing anti-ice on in active icing conditions, it is recommended that you turn off the wing anti-ice prior, or actually at, the final approach fix on an approach. And there's a couple theories behind that. Number one, the wing is hot enough that theoretically from the time you hit the final approach fix to touchdown, the wing will be hot enough. It will still be above 0 C, and it will still continue to prevent ice from accumulating on the aircraft. It will perform its anti-icing duties. The other part to that, the other answer to that is for performance on a go-around. If you need to go around and you are in an area of high terrain and performance is critical for that aircraft's operation, getting the extra performance from the engines is more critical than protecting it from an ice accumulation to the point where it couldn't fly. So Airbus has done careful calculations. I'm sure they do wind tunnel testing and practical testing of this, but they've determined that it's actually more important for you to have the performance from the engine thrust in a go-around than have the wing anti-ice on. So then you would kind of apply that takeoff principle, right? So wing anti-ice on, final approach fix, wing anti-ice off. Oh, we have a bulk landing to a go-around, positive rate, gear up. Let's keep the wing anti-ice off until when? Clean wing. Once the wing is clean, then we'll go and wing anti-ice back on. Can you twerk, please, and face cam? No, but you can be banned from the channel. All right, let me get this. Papa Ron, you love this channel? Hey, dude, glad to hear it, man. Appreciate you. Glad you're enjoying the content, dude. All right, so there's that. That's the other thing about wing anti-ice. And then the last thing we're going to hit on wing anti-ice is when do you actually turn it on? Now, in real life, it's probably a little bit different than in the sim world because, number one, we don't know how active the sim world is or how accurate the sim world is with its icing model. But we have this little ice detector up here. You see this? Now, this isn't really an ice detector. This is just this is an ice probe. I can't remember the technical name of it. This does nothing but illuminate. So this illuminates at night, and you can see if there's ice building on it or not. Now, the light inside there is pretty dim. It doesn't really work, so I just typically use a handheld flashlight to illuminate it to see if ice is building. Or you could look at representative surfaces, such as the windshield wiper blades or the edges of the window frame here where they're not exactly heated right on the edge, or even your wing tips. If you have sharklets out there, you can sometimes see right here at 320. That's a pretty accurate view of what you can see if you see any ice out there or not. So Airbus says do not really use wing anti-ice unless you are actively icing. Whereas it's different from engine anti-ice, where you use engine anti-ice as a preventative measure. All right? All right. Almost never clear. Oh, VR Simpot, what's up, man? Good to see you here. That's the fancier version of the temp probe that sticks out of my arrow for ice detection. Exactly. So so there are Airbuses that have ice detectors. This is not really a true ice detector. So the airplanes that have ice detectors, they have what it's like a resonance. Is it a resonance detector? So you'll see it on the outside of the airplane, and I don't think it's modeled on this one here, but it'll be around here somewhere, part of your air data probe system. It basically looks like, honestly, it looks kind of like a tail. So if you imagine a tail-shaped probe with a little, like, toothpick sticking out of it, all right? That is a sensor. It can feel vibration, or it senses the vibration and movement of the airflow. When that airflow changes or becomes disrupted, that will trigger the anti-ice or say, hey, ice detected, turn your ice on, because ice is starting to accumulate and it changes the harmonics, I believe. It changes the harmonics of that vibration in the ice detector itself. So not all Airbuses have that. Some do, some don't. Just depends on the company and how much money they want to spend on their fleet. So that would be, that's when you would get the ice detected or ice not detected as well. All right, so recapping on ice before we have to start prepping for a descent 228 miles away. Engine anti-ice, we use that as a preventative. When you are going to be descending into visible moisture and or the temperature and, not or, and the temperature is colder, is warmer than minus 40 sat, coming down on the descent all the way to plus 10 tat, or you use it on the ground when you are in that plus 10, minus 10 tat. You turn it on. It doesn't matter if you see ice or not. You use it as a preventative measure. Wing anti-ice, real world, we only turn that on when we actively start accumulating ice. Now, in the sim world, I would say, and you just, I don't know, you use the wing anti-ice at your own risk. I mean, if you don't turn it on, you may not see ice, but then your airplane may fall out of the sky because there's no actual visible ice accretion. So I don't know how the sim handles it, but that's a real world tip. What is ISA? ISA is the standard temperature deviation. So right now, we are ISA plus 9. It is 9 degrees warmer than the standard temperature at flight level 380. So it should be minus 56. It is minus 47. So it's 9 degrees warmer than standard. And trick question, anybody in chat know when that ISA pops up on the lower ECAM? This is not here all the time. There's a specific instance of when ISA will pop up on the ECAM. Anybody remember? We've talked about it before. AJ Flyer GSX is giving me a bug on the Phoenix where my brakes get hot. Does this happen to you? AJ Flyer, I have heard of that happening, but I have not seen it in my sim. So, unfortunately, I don't have a solution for you. But I haven't seen that in my sim. But I know it is a known bug with several people. So when you pull STD, transition altitude, cap barrel on standard, there you go. Dave Games, exactly. So it's not at 18,000. It's when you pull standard on the captain side. So if you see here, if I push that 29907, now really it should only be on the captain. So I pull here. So that's not really realistic. That should only populate when the captain side altimeter is set to standard. In the Phoenix, it seems to be either or. But in the real airplane, you're absolutely right. When the captain's altimeter is set to standard, ISA will populate on the lower ECAM. That's your standard temperature deviation. Nice livery. We'll look for this version. I'm using LAUB's AL paints. Yeah, LAUB's got some good ones too. I haven't used. I don't think I've used him. Does he have anything on the 7 or on the Phoenix? Let me turn this dome light off. Let's do a quick little. I just want to show you guys the cabin real quick here, because this livery, I mean, it's pretty nice. It's got the little red on the seats, so you can see even the seat colors match. I mean, you can get the Phoenix logo removal if you want, but you see the little red there on top of the headrest, just like American has it. So it's a really good. It's really good. And let me show you outside again too. So like this color, it's like the exact color of the American paint job. It just looks so good. It's. I'm not saying the default one from Phoenix is bad, but this one is like spot on. I'm trying to set this to like 1 volume notch instead of, there we go. So it's spot on realistic with the color. I mean, look at that. That looks like it's straight out of an American commercial. Like this airplane should just break right and be like an American thing pop up on the screen. Used his metal 7.3 American to Philly. Oh yeah, dude, his all metal is fantastic. I love that on the 7.3. All right. Any more questions on anti-ice, de-ice? Oh, is the tail heated? You guys should know that by now. Is the tail heated? When you turn on, is it heated by any elements? Soup JC with the $10 super chat, man. I appreciate you, dude. Says, love the streams. YouTube won't let my account become a member, so here's a tip for you, sir. Soup JC. Well, I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Perhaps it's not allowed in your country or however it works for your YouTube account, but not to fret, man. I like to go Buc-ee's. I love the Buc-ee's logo, man. Thanks for the $10 super chat, dude. Correct. It is not heated at all. So theoretically, Airbus has said that in their wind tunnel testing that it is not necessary to heat the tail. So it's not heated. Haven't had any issues. I did tell one story. I think I podcasted it where we were actually landing in severe ice accretion. I mean, it was severe. The controls felt mushy. Bumped up our VAP. The max will allow VLS plus 15. And I even told the FO, I was like, man, we need to put this on the ground. I don't want to go around with this. So, yeah, absolutely. It says it's not needed, and it seems to be flying. Airbus has been flying ever since. So, oh my goodness, Migs is dropping a $20 gifted subs. Oh my. Another massive gifted sub donation from Migs. I will pause the alert box for this. Guys, if you pick up a gifted sub from Migs, make sure you to thank him. Migs, you're an absolute animal, my friend. You are an absolute animal. Appreciate you, dude. Awesome support. And guys that are picking up the members, you get your badges in chat. You get to get synced up with the synced up with your Discord, so you can the V1 After Dark channel. And I will be doing a podcast here pretty soon, guys. I know I keep saying pretty soon, but maybe even we might even. I don't want to get your hopes up. There is a possibility tonight from the V1 house with a bourbon in hand. If it's cold and cloudy, I might go live tonight on a V1 podcast. We got to talk about something that's come up, and I want to go over my extreme heavy rain landing before I get too distant memory on that. But make sure you are synced up with that, and I can't thank you enough, Migs. You're an absolute savage, dude. You're awesome. Thank you, my friend, and I mean that in a good way. I'm an animal, but a pilot, so I stick around. I'm an animal, but not a pilot, so I stick around. Migs, you're awesome, dude. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right, here is Portland International charts. Here, let's go to the actual chart. Portlandia. We have 10 right set up in the box. Am I correct on that? I am incorrect on that. We have 28 left set up in the box. So we're going to be landing 28 left. Beautiful. Where's American Park? Inside the U? I think they're inside the U. Arrival and approach. We're going to do arrival first, and we are on the hood 4. Hood 4 arrival. Ooh. So that would put us on the Norse complex. Man, we're all sorts of messed up. All right, what type of Cat 3s we have? We're going to do either a practice Cat 3 or for real. We're actually going to do a Cat 3 no matter what. So we've got ILS 28 left. ILS 10 is a Cat 3. Uh-oh. Our only Cat 3 is ILS 10 right. Really? They don't have any Cat 3s for the West? Am I seeing that right? 28 left? 28 right. The only Cat 3 is 10 right. Rip. What's the, I tell you what. Let's do a couple things here. Let's set an altitude before we get ahead of ourselves. Let's just set 10,000 in the window so we don't forget to start down, because it is a steep descent. So we're going to set 10,000 up here in the FCU. 10,000 is set, and let's send away for a weather. I know I can do it from the tablet too, but this is kind of fun to do it this way. Let's go weather, and let's see what the current winds are. We have to see our limitation. Any type rated guys in chat? What's the Cat 3, the crosswind limitation on this? I forget. It's charted somewhere in our iPad, which I don't have. Weather request, METAR, send it. Brendan Berry has become a private pilot. Brendan Berry, thank you so much for joining the channel, my friend. Glad to have you on board, man. Exclamation point, welcome. This is a landing question, not anti-ice, but I was wondering how far you'd float on a landing before considering a go-around. I found it really hard to get a good touchdown on the 1,000-foot. Charles Lyman. So, as long as you are in the first third of runway or in the touchdown zone, you're good to go. If you land outside of the touchdown zone or you're floating past it, it is a mandatory go-around. No exceptions. So 200 at 4. You know what? We could do it. We could land 10. But 200 at 4 is not bad. VMC HD, what's up, man? 20 knots, I think. Okay, yeah, 15 at 20. So we should be fine. It's only 4 knots down there either way, so we'll be good. We'll have 200 at 4. If we land on 10, we're going to have a quartering tailwind, but I think we'll still be within limits. I think it's like 5 knots, right? A tailwind. So we should be fine. So for practice purposes, we need to change some things around here. We need to do the ILS 10 right Cat 3, which is off of the battleground. Well, not off of, but okay. Is this we're going to plan up? We got to go out to Scapo. Can we change our arrival in here before we start down? Does Helen 6 bring us to 10? We're going to be too high, I think. Timbers 2 is from the south. So Hood 4, let's stick with this. This would bring us, we could do the Hood 4. So Hood 4 says for landing 10, 270 to Theed, MZ, track Cecil, expect radar vectors after nut. So nut is way out there. So we're going to change this up. We're going to keep the arrival. We're going to change the approach to Cat 3 approach for runway 10 right. ILS 10 right. We're still doing the hood 4. We're still doing the jot bus. So we'll insert that. That's actually just going to prolong our cruise just a little bit longer, which is fine. Maximum wind conditions for Cat 2, Cat 3. Headwind 30, tailwind 10, crosswind 20. All right. I think our SOP is 5, but we should be good there. Eric M. Gaming has joined as a commercial pilot. Eric M. Gaming, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your dedication to Team Green. Welcome on board, my friend. Welcome on board. Same goes for you. Exclamation point welcome if you need more information on your new perks. All right. I am doing an Autoland Blue Mac. We are doing an Autoland. All right, so a couple other things for Autoland. Let's verify this is still good. Shatner, is that no? Schaefer. Shatner's out of L.A. All right, so it's actually all synced up, which that doesn't seem right. Let me look at this closer. Let's scroll down. So you see how it looks like it has... Interesting. That's not quite correct. Let's do an approach via Scapo. We'll draw it all the way out. Insert that. And now... It doesn't have that nut transition in there, which is weird. Hood 4 via Jotba. All right. Well, it doesn't have, it's not 100% correct in the box, but we don't have any ATC on anyway, so it doesn't matter. We'll do our own extend the line. So we should be fine on that. But what we do need to do is we need to put in the rest of our information. So Cat 3 minimum RVR is 3, which we're going to have that. Our current weather was 200 at 4, 10 miles, broken at 1400, overcast 47, 3000. So this is a good practice Autoland for us. If we go to the prog page, I'm going to put KPDX and I'm going to put 10 right. It is 10 right, right? Yeah, 10 right. Move my camera back around. 10 right in the prog page here. Perf data, next phase. I don't want to come down that fast. 0.78. I think we're going to just have to do selected because our box is a little bit funky right now. And approach. So 3000. Temperature is 7 degrees. Winds are 200 at 4 knots. For a Cat 3 Autoland, we are going to put no in the radio mins. All right, so we've got no selected. We're doing a flap full. And you can see no DH is now displayed on our FMA. So we've got that set. We'll also get our LS push buttons on. We'll use auto brakes low on this. We'll simulate it all the way to the ground. So typically what happens when you're doing an Autoland scenario, you're going to be landing, well, you are going to be landing in very low visibility. So you need to plan your exit, your runway exit, in accordance with, our top of descent is a little whacked up here too. You have to plan your runway exit in accordance with the low visibility taxi routes on the specific airport. Now, since this is a practice Cat 3 Autoland, we do not need to actually plan for that, but we're going to have the low auto brakes set up anyway. Another reason why you have low auto brakes is in super low visibility, it can be difficult to maintain center line when you're using differential braking. If you tend to be heavy-footed with maybe your left foot is a little bit heavier than your right foot, and you start to go a little bit left to center line in super low visibility, it can be harder to key in on that visually. So it's better to just have symmetrical braking, let the auto brakes do their job until you get down below like 80 knots or something like that. Then turn them off. It's not a big deal. But the symmetrical braking just guarantees that you're going to maintain that centerline control and everything's going to stay perfectly in line with the centerline of the runway. All right, so you can see here we're doing that Fenix thing again. We're heading to the bottom of the descent window. That's just a Fenix thing. I don't know why that is, but we'll be all right. I think it's just a calculation error. So we've got, we'll put terrain up on my screen as well. First off, should have weather up if it was working. We have no DH is set. Our localizer is 110.5. We should also have an approach course dialed in here, but we don't see that. That would be displayed. Our final approach course is 103. Final approach fix altitude is over poles on slope at 2,000 feet. There is no minimums for this approach. We have no DH set. Touchdown zone is 24 feet. So round it up, we need to be stable by 1,030. Okay, 1,030 is our stable target. Two sector altitudes, the highest of 6,000 feet to the northeast, 3,400 to the south and southwest. That's off the battleground VOR. If we have to go missed on the approach, if we do not see a PAPI on the right-hand side or the ALSIF 2 lighting system, the published missed approach calls for straight out 1,100, climbing right turn 5,000, intercept the 160 off battleground to Moles intersection, and hold. If we click our flight plan here, we scroll down, there it is. There is our hold. 340 inbound, matches the plates in the box. Landing on runway 10 left, or excuse me, landing on runway 10 right. No runways to cross. We'll probably plan our exit at either Bravo 5 or Bravo 6. We'll double back on Bravo and we'll just park at one of the closest gates. Not a big deal. I do have the Flight Beam Portland, which I've never flown into before. So I'm excited to see the Flight Beam Portland that we have. I've never flown in there. I had Flight Beam in X-Plane. I absolutely loved it. But I'm curious to see what it looks like in Microsoft. All right. Your briefing is considered complete. We're starting down. Let's go ahead and we'll leave the seatbelt sign off for a few more minutes. Let's enjoy some of these views as we descend into the land of coffee and beards. It'd be nice if Microsoft would sharpen up the shadows a little bit. Yeah, it would be nice if they could sharpen them up a tad. Even on like the highest settings, it doesn't change them, unfortunately. All right, here we go. Let me answer this text message. Is Portland known for music? Nah, I think it's known for coffee and mustaches. Alright, Joppa at or above 240. Looks like we're on the profile now. A little bit on the bottom of the econ descent window, but that's fine. How's our fuel looking? We were planning to land with 6.7. That works for me. You guys have been briefed. I've been briefed. Let's enjoy it. Oh man, how amazing does that look, huh? That paint is 10 for 10. There's an indie music scene in Portland? Oh yeah. Portland is known for having the most food trucks I've ever seen on one square block. Yes, I would agree with you there. Also known for Voodoo Donuts. Voodoo Donuts is a big deal. For its weirdness, hipster. There you go. Hipster. That's what I was going for, hipster. That was the word I was looking for. Could you do me a favor? I don't know why my charts aren't loading. Can you tell me the DH for 10 right? The DH for 10 right is no DH if you're doing a Cat 3. If you're just doing a regular landing on 10 right, the decision altitude is 224. 224, or 200 feet rad out. I love this. This is so much better than the Navigraph thingy-majigger up here. Absolutely hate that thing up there. Love the way it's implemented in the Fenix. 10 for 10. Can actually go night charts toggle here. That's pretty cool too. Save some battery power. Don't forget the it's the TUI. You got a new Voodoo Donuts in Boulder? Nice. Blue Star Donuts, Digital Merc. I've not heard of Blue Star. I will have to check it out. Is it in Portland? I haven't had a Portland overnight. I can't tell you when, man. I haven't been to Portland in over a year, easily. But I do love the overnight there. Used to, anyway. Actually, I think it's been like 2 years since I've been to Portland. What is the max airport elevation for the Autoland? That is dependent upon the airframe you're in, actually, as well. I think the Neos are slightly different. And I don't know if it's an Autoland. It's more so of a... actually, it is for Autoland in the 321. It's all charted. So where I work, a lot of the stuff that's published you don't have to memorize because there's so much other stuff you have to memorize. So, but that would be in consideration. So Ernie 320 or Emery 320, when you are doing a real ILS Cat 3 approach, there's a phase that we call book it. So and for us, the easy way we remember it is book it, brief it, and fly it. So to book it, you actually look up all of our... would be on our quick reference manual because the Cat 3 is not something you do all the time. So you don't really need to commit it to memory, and even if you had it committed to memory, that's a good way to forget something and end up doing something really bad. So to book it, you actually bring it up. And for us, you put in the tail number. It will bring you to the specific tail number that you're flying because every Airbus can be a little bit different depending on sharklets, depending on the company's mods that has installed on the aircraft, depending on the engine variant. Everything can be a little bit different. So for that specific tail number, you would look up the Cat 3 Autoland procedures. It would tell you all your limitations. It would have your crosswind limits, your tailwind limits. It'd have your headwind component limits or things like, if that was even a factor, which I think there is a headwind component or a headwind limit for an Autoland as well, and airport elevation limits. So all those things would be in there. You would you'd book that silently amongst yourselves, kind of hit some topics, and then the pilot that was flying the approach would then announce that, and then for us, the captain will do the Cat 3 Autoland. So a Cat 3 Autoland is a captain flown approach, and I would brief it, talk about all the high points. The one major change that's the most common is our call-outs are going to change slightly on the approach. So our Cat 3, you'll get a land green, that now becomes a call-out. So land green means, hey, we're good to go. I think it's 750 feet RA. Land green comes on. You're looking for that. And then it's either landing or go around. That's it. So a little bit of difference in the call-out change. Salt Lake City stands for Portland. PDX stands, or Salt Lake City stands for Salt Lake City. Portland stands for Portland. Yeah, Portland. They just put X on it when it needed to be three letters. VMCHG, yeah, same here, man. 19s, 20s, 21s, and Neos and non-Neos. So, yeah, and Sharklets and non-Sharklets. I'm right there with you, man. All the freaking engine limitations are different. Everything we got to memorize. So, Cat 3 Autoland limitation is one thing we don't have to memorize. Matthew Presley says, our Cat 3 stuff's in the QRH. We have to review the chapter on it before approach, including equipment requirements. Yes, absolutely. That's another big one. So if you have an airplane that has any deferred items up here mechanically or anything of the sort, that could affect the airplane's capability for doing an auto land. So you would have to also check that as well. So while in SimWorld it's pretty easy, we just hit AP2 and watch the airplane land itself, in real life, there's actually quite a bit of stuff that we go over and we check, because when you're doing an auto land for real and you don't see anything until the mains are basically touching the ground, there is zero room for error. So there's a lot more stuff that comes into consideration. Real world, sim world, sync up your autopilots and let it rip, you know. All right, we're coming out of 18,000 feet. Our new altimeter is 3000, so we'll set 3000 once, twice, and 3 times. We'll also turn our seatbelts on, and we could probably change the temps up here. It's a little bit cold. I'm sure the flight attendants would have called up by now. Hey, can you change the temperature? Make it a little bit warmer, please, or freezing. All right, 270. Well, we blew through that, didn't we? Jeez, criminy. So we're not doing anything good here on this. Let's go ahead and select speed. I'm actually going to select 250 knots. See, so now we're behind the descent profile, which I don't understand. I don't understand why what's going on there. There's definitely some error in the computations because we have a headwind, and we were high on path, and now we were low on path, and now we are high on path. So, just an Airbus being Airbus. I'm going to go ahead and go speed brakes out. Throttletek cam is on. Yeah, exactly, Matthew Presley. Flying around with MEOs, yeah, it's... The 19s, typically the A319s in our fleet are the ones that are always stickered up. All right, so I'm going to do this. We'll do open descent. We'll ignore that restriction because we also have a air over here after Schaefer. So I'm going to set 10,000, thrust idle, open descent, coming back to 250 knots. We have clouds we're about to descend in. The temperature is -6, and it's well warmer than -40. So that means, what do we need to do, chat? Preemptively, engine anti-ice is coming on. And remember, we're doing that because we want to heat up these engine nacelles. Oh my goodness. Look at that view. Forget what I'm saying. Smash the like button for that. I always forget. Is that Shasta? No, not Shasta. That's California. Rainier? No, what is this volcano mountain called? I always forget. Not Rainier, is it? That is absolutely amazing. Look at that view, guys. Come on. Are you kidding me? Screenshot. Mount Hood? Is it Mount Hood? Hood. It is Hood. Okay, thank you. That's why I can never forget. Michael Nash. Cabin crew does. Yes, I believe it's a 15-degree window with whatever base threshold is set up here. So I think if it's dead middle, I think it is 74. So they would have like 64 to 89 or something like that. But over here, it's a little bit cooler. Typically, the typical configuration is right about there. That's where most flight attendants like this loadout. Jeez. Most flight attendants like this setup here because that gives them a comfortable range to modify on the back. So this is a base temperature value, and then they have a plus or minus 15 degrees of where you are. All right, 10,000 feet, speed brakes are stowed, speed out star, we're 250 knots, we're selected speed. Let's go ahead and activate and confirm the approach phase at this point here. That is set. We're going to continue flying on this weird line here. Let's also run some landing data. I should have done that earlier. I'm on the hood arrival. Duh, there we go. I want to do landing data, but I want to look at these views. Screw the landing data. Look at this. Oh my word. I'm on the hood arrival. I can't, yeah, duh, Tyson. How did I not think of that? Oh, I love the 319, Kyle. I wish we had a 319. If Phoenix, all I want for Christmas, Amir, is Phoenix to announce they're working on a 319. That's all I want. That's all I want for Christmas. I don't care if the cockpit looks exactly the same. You can just copy and paste this cockpit, stick it in a 319. Because it is virtually the same. And you have this 320 cockpit is very rustic and old looking, in my opinion, and it would fit perfectly with a 319. Who needs landing data in Autoland? Exactly. Well, actually, it's pretty important. Are you looking forward to the new default airports in Update 12? I am, Ryan, of course. No A321. Blueface, I like the 321 as well, but I would prefer a 319. There's something about flying a 319 that's just my favorite. Of all the Airbus narrow bodies, my favorite to fly in real life and in the sim is 319s. The 319 is a little crisp potato chip packet, but they do land well. Exactly, VMC HD. And you can, I mean, if you're high, you can dive and drive them. You get full speed brake. They got good climb performance. They're just little tanks, man. They're little tanks. I love the 319. Love it, love it, love it. A 319, all I want is the IE variant. Double worth, okay, there you go. That I would like that too. But we know that's coming. We know that's coming, so... All right, we are going to turn out here, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give us a heading. So I'm going to select heading. We're going to fly 280, American 357, fly heading 280 vectors ILS 10 right. All right, so that is set. Let's just extend a line off of Scapo. We'll do Scapo 283, insert that, pull heading so we don't intercept it. Boom, heading has been pulled, and now we have a nice extended runway center line, and Scapo has disappeared, even though it wouldn't do that in real life, so rip. But let's descend and maintain 7,000. Make it 6,000. Descend and maintain 6,000. American 357. Here we go. We'll bump up the sounds a little bit, bring you guys into the immersion zone. 736 is my 19 substitute. Yeah, it is, Jeff. That's my 73500 substitute. .321 with Sharklets, IAEs or Pratts are the best. They do. I think that is the best looking Airbus. 321, IAEs, and Sharklets. It's kind of like a little mini 7.5. It's only a few feet shorter, to be honest with you. Now, it has nowhere near the performance of a 757, but as far as dimensions go, it's only like less than 10 feet shorter. I think it's like 7 feet or something shorter. But of course, it sits lower to the ground, too. What about update 12 and new airports? Oh, Rahul, I'm not sure. Then maybe they're not going to be pitch black at night anymore. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what some update 12 brings, man. I'm just enjoying what we got now. I mean, so far I know everybody's experience differs with their sims, but the current sim is running really smooth, beautiful on my rig. I mean, just look at these reflections off the wings here, man. So good. Hopefully Aerosoft drops the 19-2021 for Microsoft. We'll see. I mean, I had the Aerosoft Airbus in FSX, and it was meh. It's a very, very light simulation. Flying Pencil 7.5, yeah. All right, so we're in icing conditions. I've just got the engine anti-ice on. Hopefully we don't need any wing anti-ice. We're speed out start. Leveling 6,000. We'll continue on this heading for... Actually, let's continue down. Let's descend to 4. We'll continue on down to 4,000. I wonder what has been planned for the 7.5 replacement. 321 XLR, man. 321 XLR. Which is interesting because it's as new and improved as the 321 XLR is. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know if it can fill this. It's not going to fill the same shoes as the 7.5 did, but I think airlines are trying to make it fill that gap. Fenix 320 flies and lands itself. Is not a big fan of Airbus, but I love this plane now. Awesome, Willie. I remember you talking about switching to Atlanta. Is that still a thing? It is still a possibility, Rex. Yes, indeed. Yeah, you're not going to be able to have the passenger load, indeed. It's not going to be able... That's what I'm saying. It won't be able to fill it completely. But I think a lot of the airlines we're seeing, they're trying to force it into that role. Let's come back to 210 knots. Give ourselves a self-vector here. 210 on the speed. Man, the views are just in and out of these clouds with the lighting. It's just in the mist. So good. A little bit of rain now. Boeing just needs to refresh the 7.5 and bring back the plane everyone wants. Money. Money. Money is not going to let that happen, my friend. Money. All right, let's go flaps 1, which will just be slats. I love, you hear that wind noise pickup? Awesome. 100% realistic there. 100% realistic. And that's another point too why you don't really need FS realistic in the Fenix anymore, because the sound is dynamic. You get all these little sounds that really FS realistic is there trying to replace. And if you run both, now you're like running double the sounds, which is really not needed. I think FS realistic is more geared toward default airplanes. But that extra wind drag there with the slats popping out, awesome. Allie, I'm using the MFG crosswinds. MFG crosswinds. All right, we're 210 knots, flaps 1. We're going to go out just past herein, and then we're going to hook it back in for the ILS 10 right. Oh, we need flight recorder on. Let me get flight recorder ready. Replay is ready to go. How are we doing on this? We oh man, we've already got. You guys are awesome. More likes and views already. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and liking the video and enjoying. I mean, who wouldn't enjoy these views? Are you absolutely kidding me right now? Unbelievable. But yeah, when you like the video, guys, on YouTube, it really does help me out. I don't have an active set schedule for streaming, creating content, because I do fly real world. Between that and a couple kids, it can be hard to find time. So when I do stream, sometimes it's an hour's notice, sometimes it's right away, sometimes it's 3 days in advance. So if you hit the like button, it helps the algorithm with the channel, producing content. And also, if you want to see more content, make sure your notifications are on. Because like I said, I don't have a set schedule. Now this is cool. So this is my Rex Accu seasons. Look at that. Look at the browning trees, the early fall. That is freaking awesome. Oh my goodness. Use FS Realistic for the dynamic head movements? Really, Aaron? I normally turn that off. That's the first thing I turn off. If I could like it 10 times, I would do it for these views. Amazing. Thank you, Sip. I appreciate you, man. The leaves are brown, Bone King. Yeah, they are just starting to turn brown up here. They're not all brown yet. It's early fall, early fall. All right, let's pay attention to where we are. American 357, turn left, heading 270. Left turn 270, American 357. Explain who? Just pissed off half the chat with that comment. No, there is no, that is default weather. I am running default weather, but it is live weather. Live weather, live time. The brownish trees you're seeing, that is Rex Accu seasons. That's Rex Accu season. So the trees start changing colors as we get into the fall. So this is like an early fall pattern where there's still quite a bit of green, but the browns are mixing in. EX plane, Tyson, I like that. I like that. I might have to make an emoji with that. The EX plane. That is straight savage right there, Tyson. Good night. Too bad you're a Broncos fan, because that's good. That's good. AR Simulations, welcome to Private Pilot, my friend. Appreciate you joining the channel. Exclamation point welcome. Glad to have you on board, dude. Thank you so much. American 357, turn left, heading 230, vector ILS 10 right. 230, American 357. Okay, whoa. All right, so 230 on the heading. As soon as I get turned on a base leg here, I'm coming right back to 180. One thing you don't want to do on an Autoland is be high and fast. I'm coming right back to 180. Trying to get have a nice square turn here. I'm no Phantom 320. I can't vector myself perfectly, but I'm trying. All right, there is VFE next, -10, flaps 2, maximum juice coming at you. AR Sim, you're flying along? Awesome, dude. Great stream today. Flying to DFW next week for AA cabin crew interview. Air Dave, thank you for the $5 super chat, man. And that is awesome. I wish you the best of luck, my friend. I'm sure you will do just fine. Relax, be yourself, come well prepared. Thank you for your support on the channel, man. I appreciate that $5 super chat. And again, I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure you're going to crush it, my friend. Let's hope the red Autoland light stays quiet. Let's hope, man. I know in the sim during recurrent, that never stays dim. All right, American 357, turn left, heading 150, maintain 4 till established, cleared ILS, 10 right approach. All right, 160, 4 till established, cleared ILS, 10 right, American 357. All right, 160 on the heading. Approach button armed. AP2 is armed. That's coming on. We never turned our lights on. Oops. We don't have any ATC, so I'm just going to get this light over here as well. That would be our clear to land light. This is kind of a steep vector here. Let's see how we do at 4,000. Might have to step down to 3. 3090 working with these big volumetric clouds. Oh yeah, it's getting hot in my office, man. I'm starting to sweat. It is working. All right, here we go. Paying attention now. We are at 4,000. Monitoring our glide slope. Waiting for our lope to come in here. Maybe we'll get a double star. We'll see. Loke is blue. Glide slope blue. Cat 3 dual autopilot 1+2. Loke star. Loke has been captured. Monitoring all of our systems here. Statui coming in with a $20 dono. Statui. Thank you so much, man, for that. I appreciate you. A $20 super chat. It says, let's see the 318 steep approach in the EGLC someday. Hey, London City. Hey, it's the TUI. We get one. I guarantee you I will be doing a London City approach in it, my friend. If we get a 318, I will be doing it. Thank you so much for that $20 super chat. It's very kind of you, sir. Thank you. All right, glide slope star. Oh, we never did this. I mean, we're going to be fine. 10 right, apply METAR. Let's not worry about it. We can stop. It's 10,000 feet long. Go around altitude is, we'll keep it at 4,000 for now. 4,000 is blue. We're waiting for 2,000 feet above field to manage speed, and then we'll slow it down. Let's go ahead and start, and we'll start the recording out of, well, what the heck, we'll start it now. Recording is on, so we don't forget. We'll fly this one straight from inside, and then we'll look at the wing views on the replay. All right, at 2,000 feet above touchdown, we will configure up. I can actually start to see the runway a little bit already. Our winds are shifting right about 5 knots, quartering tailwind. Might be interesting for our rollout and landing. All right, we are, because of this tailwind, I'm going to do this early. I'm going to help the airplane out. So we're going to go manage speed, gear down, speed brakes armed.
2,500.
Wow, these views are freaking awesome. VFE next, -10, let's go flaps 3. I know I said we'd wait for the wing views, but I just can't help myself. I can't help myself. This is as real as it gets. Let's go flaps full, landing checklist. Our landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto thrust is speed. ECAM memo, landing all green, landing checklist is complete. Approaching 1,000, we're a little bit over that, we're about 2,000 feet now. So we're early, but we got down on speed. This is an Autoland test here, so we want to see exactly how Phoenix is handling current Autoland. Winds are within limits now. We're quartering headwind at about 5 to 6 knots. So that is good. Oh man, I'm going to be quiet. Just full immersion right here. And of course my sister starts calling in. I don't have time to talk. I'm landing in Portland right now. Gosh. All right. Pay attention. (1-800-AUTOLAND). Just need a baby crying and it'd be realistic. Yep.
1,000.
1,000 feet stable, clear to land. Winds have pretty much died off now down here, and I love how you can tell that by just looking at the water. Just out the left-hand side of the cockpit direct vision window there, you can see just an ever so slight ripple on the water. Just getting a little bit of wind right off the right-hand side. Everything is within limitations right now. The slope looks good. The lope looks good.
$500.
All right, so we'll wait for land green now. There's our land green.
300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. Retard.
Oh boy. So that's a ride up. Autopilot disconnect. Get back on center line. So that would be a ride up. That is not on center line. 70 knots, idle reverse, manual brakes. We can probably make this next turn right here. We'll heat them up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Portland, where this airplane is going to be written up for Autolands and will be downgraded to Cat 2. So I've actually had something similar in real life where we were doing an Autoland for maintenance purposes in VFR conditions,
Traffic, American 541,
and it didn't land on centerline, so we wrote it up. But that is why you have to do testing. So I don't know if that's a flight beam thing. It seemed like the loc was on centerline. It just wasn't. We actually were a little bit off of centerline there after landing. So let's go ahead and clean it up. We'll do that. We'll do that. We can turn our engine anti-ice off on the ground up here. That comes off. That comes off. We'll prime the APU as well. Get our lights off. I can hear the engine spool down there as we turn the engine anti-ice off. That was really cool. Look at that. We went down to a lower idle speed. Now the flight autopilot come off. That's normal. We'll clear that. APU is spooling up. Jared Harden, or Jared Hayden, thank you so much, man, for the $5 super chat. At your airline, do two captains ever fly together? And if so, does the senior sit left seat? No. The only time you'd have captain on captain is captain training. Another American on final there. Thank you, Jared, for your $5 super chat, my friend. Appreciate you. Alright, so I'll tell you what, let's go right here. Let's take Charlie 23 instead of taxiing all the way around to the other side. What was the landing rate on that? I never actually saw it. What was the landing rate for the Autoland? Looks like we got ourselves a marshaller out there as well. It was a 245? Interesting. It seemed smoother than that. I mean, landing rates are landing rates, so it's not a big deal, but... I'm going to lose nose, you under the nose. Oh, ooh, that was a good one. Brakes are set. APU is available, so we'll go engine 2.
343, 5 mile, final 10 right, 4.
Seatbelt sign off. Engine 1. Oh, I forgot to, I don't know why I killed the tiller cam there. Spooling down. Absolutely love it. 5%, kill the beacon. Oh, there's somebody landing. Sweet. Oh, I'm still recording. Stop recording. Nice. Nice touchdown there. There's another A319 maybe. Good deal. It was right on the loc. It was a scenery problem. Okay, so that would explain it. I mean, I've seen the scenery off in the sim before. I mean, the airplane did a good job. Nice little rollout. Oh, he's trying to make that high-speed brakes. Anybody else coming down? We got one more. Oh, we'll watch one more landing here, and then we'll do our own replay. I want to see that from cinematic wing view all the way down. It's very common in Microsoft. Yeah, you know, I've noticed the glide slopes being off, and then I've noticed localizers being off a tad too. So hopefully maybe one day we can get a patch to align that. Or I think it has to do specifically with the developer, right? Because they probably have to align it. I had 3 different approaches tell me 3 different three different apps tell me 3 different landing rates. 150-foot difference for the same landing. Yeah. It was that day you stopped caring. Yeah, I mean, we all want to see a butter, of course, but I mean, my thing has showed me 0 before, then it's like showed me 400, so I don't know. As long as you're on center line, which we were not, and in the touchdown zone, that's a pretty darn good landing. All right, let's watch this touchdown, and then we're going to get in the replay mode. Callie Simmer, dude, thank you for the $10 super chat, my friend. Another amazing stream as always. I'm exhausted from attending V1 University, but I love it. Callie Simmer, appreciate you, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. Ooh, that was nice. Oh, look at his reversers come out. Ah. That was cool. Callie Simmer, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that very, very much, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the content, and thank you for the super chats and all of the juice donos, man. Absolutely awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, let's get into replay mode. Let's go ahead and dismiss that. Let's just go back to panel states. Let's set the active states. We'll put our engines on. We'll turn our parking brake off. That is good. We'll set our flaps out. Let's go panel states active, and we'll to replay. Do a ready state, activate. Oh, here comes that American right there. That's cool. So as long as I don't get a load 15, I don't care. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that was a nice ERP for that guy too. All right, let's disconnect from that sim. Oh, how cool is that, though, seeing another American come in here. I love simming, man. Simming is so fun. All right, let's hop into the replay. Let's let it load for a second, and here we go. We're live. So I want to do a juice view here on the way in, because this is just too cool. Rob Ziegler, glad you enjoyed it, man. Take care, buddy. When is the members-only podcast? Blue Mac. I'm really going to try this week, man. I'm really going to try... let me see. Let me check something right now. Hold on. You know, Friday is supposed to be pretty rainy and stormy. That seems like a good day for a podcast. I will... I'm going to schedule it. As soon as I can get some time, I'll schedule it, and I'll ping the Discord as well that we're going live. So... I don't want to just set a time now in case I can't make it. So, Mig says, when's the next podcasting stream? Next stream, I'm not sure when I'll stream next. I don't think I can do tomorrow. I got a couple things I'm taking care of this week, so we'll have to see. But there will be another event this week. It'll either be a podcast or a stream. It will happen this week. I just don't know which day yet. I got some stuff I got to take care of when I get home first. Starlink might not like the rain, though. Oh, that's true, Blue Mac. That's true. Maybe we'll have to do it on a non-rainy day. Calvin, yes. North Texas, man. Texas represent, my friend. Oh, I forgot to disconnect from VATSIM. My bad. I mean, that is just awesome. Look, this is what I'm talking about. This livery, though. Look at this paint. The engines are just painted perfectly. Oh, listen to that. Little thrust up there. Get on speed. Straight juice, Fubar. I agree with you, man. Calvin Parker says you always bring a teaching moment to your videos. Thank you, and I learn a lot. Calvin, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. That was the goal of today's stream. Teach a little bit about winter ops. This is just stream 1 of probably 2 that we'll dedicate to winter ops, where we do de-icing and all that good stuff. So, as more snowstorms come into play in the U.S., I will do more streaming in and out of there. Rob, you fly the American livery out of DFW every time you fly? It's my base. Awesome, Rob. Good deal, man. Look at that little bit of flap vibration right there. How cool is that? Migs, you're going to rewatch or observe all the Winter Ops knowledge? Good deal, man. Good deal. I'm having a pop quiz at the end of the month for Winter Ops. That'd be a good idea, though. This channel offers so much return on investment for the subscription price. Thanks for your time with us, my friend. Tony Johns, appreciate that, man. Very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Rex AccuSeasons. Yes, that is what it is. Rex AccuSeasons, bringing in the brown trees. Yeah, Dub, that's what it is. Rex AccuSeasons. Little harbor down there with all the boats in it. Oh, that is so cool, man. Gosh, the sounds are awesome. Lutu says X-Plane 11 forever. Heck yeah, man. If that's what you love, that's what you love. Look at the little flex. Not a bad float. Oh, that was definitely not a 245. That was, I don't know what that one thing is saying. That is on it. Now, we weren't on centerline, but that's the Autoland fault. But that was amazing. Let's pause it. Let's go back.
Terrain.
Let's watch it from outside view. Let's see how we did here. So we were on the slope. A little bit of a crab. Look at all that rainstorm out there. How cool is that? Let's see how our touchdown was. Oh, I don't know if that was a 245. I don't know. That looked pretty good. Only factor, let's take a look at the localizer. Can we see it? Let me pause. I don't think we can see the loc on final, can we?
Too low. Terrain.
Let me recycle this. Let me recycle this. LS. I can't see the loc on replay, unfortunately. Oh well. A Portland 245. Alright guys, we're going to get sail rolling here. I'm going to leave you with a few more replays. We'll watch this one here. and then we'll watch one. We'll wind one all the way back. You can enjoy it. I will see you guys some other time this week. I'm not sure when. Make sure your notifications are on. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I wish I had a better answer for you. It's just I got so many things bouncing around in real life, so I don't want to schedule something and then not be able to make it. So, with that said, first and foremost, shout out to all of the crazy donos and subscription donos you guys have given out. Migs, Callie, Simmer, J-Dub, many more. If I missed your name, I apologize, but just Tui had a big one there at the end. Jarrett Hannon had one. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your support, whether it be monetary or just subscription based. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you to everyone else hanging out with me in chat here today. If you just like the video, you're absolutely awesome. And if you want to see more of the content, like I said earlier, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. And I hope to see you on a future live stream. Until next time, guys, I'm V1. Stay safe, stay healthy. See yous in chat. See ya! Key 6, I'm about to turn into a chicken thigh, my friend.
$1,000.
All right, that was badass. I don't know how we've never done that before, but you can even see the red no tow light on here now because the engines are down, the brakes are set, engine spool down sound. That was freaking awesome. Parking job was trash, but that was because of the marshal. He said I was on center line when I wasn't, but that was pretty cool. All right, I'm out of here. Zip.